Prologue. Find in the Arctic. The Arctic, polar region of the Earth located at the northernmost part of the Earth. Nothing important in this uninhabited place, but only at the first glance. Two people were inside a Jeep riding on the Arctic Circle. The driver is a slender and tall, pale-skinned 30-year-old man with unkempt, messy, shoulder-length black hair that partially hangs in front of his face and tired, half-open black eyes. His name is Shota Izawa. This man always moved by logic and rationality and doesn't tolerate nonsense and slackers. Right now, he was trying not strangling his annoying colleague. The passenger is also a 29-year-old woman average height with a strong athletic build with sea green hair. Her name is Emi Fukakato. This one is total opposite of former man. She always talks with a certain level of excitement and always asks her colleague to marry her regardless of the situation. Right now, she is singing some songs with his terrible loud voice and irritating his colleague. Any person would say that these two have nothing in common, but actually, both of them are best friends. At least that's what Fukakato always said. Fukakato, can you stop singing? I can't concentrate on driving because of your cacophony, exasperatedly said Shota. But I am bored, whined Emi. We're at the Arctic Circle, riding to the site of a Sheldy search team, because they found something that only can be discussed on the base, sighed Izawa. We are not going to the amusement park. I know, but radio doesn't work because of blizzard, argued Fukakato and later smirked. Plus, if I do not sing, then you will probably fall asleep. Why did I choose you? Said Shota. You actually had a choice between me and Namuri, countered smugly Emi. And I am touched that you chose me. At Fukakato's words, Izawa widened his eyes at remembering that revelation. Inside his head, he can still hear her endless flirting. You are less evil, admitted Shota, and we have arrived on site. Finally, screamed Fukakato, not noticing Izawa's rolling eyes. After leaving a jeep, the two were met by a man who is a leader of search team. Are you the agents of SHIELD from Washington? Man asked. Yes, we are. We are the SHIELD tech and the best SHIELD agent. Emi Fukakato and Shota Izawa, screamed Emi. You get many other visitors out here? I'm sorry about this loudmouth. You don't know anything about protocol, apologized Shota. How long have you been in sight? Since this morning. A Russian oil team called it in about 18 hours ago, explained leader of search team. How come nobody spotted it before? Asked Izawa. It's really not that surprising. This landscape's changing all the time, explained leader of search team. You got any ideas what this thing is exactly? I don't know. It's probably a weather balloon, answered Shota. I don't think so, declined leader of search team. You know we don't have the equipment for a job like this. How long before we can start craning it out? Demanded Izawa. I don't think you quite understand, scoffed leader of search team, pointed to the iceberg. You guys are going to need one hell of a crane. Shota and Emi look at the iceberg and could not believe their eyes. Moreover, they finally understand what the problem is. Inside the iceberg was a massive plane. It looks like it was been frozen for some years. After hours of using laser to make a hole in the metal aircraft, Izawa and Fukakato finally get inside. The first thing they learned that the plane have more space than it looks. The second thing is that everything is covered in the ice. Base we are in, answered Shota into his calm looking around. He was trying to understand when was built this ship. When he was studying to be an agent of SHIELD, he memorized almost every aircraft and technology from which it was built. However, this one are built by unidentified and more progressive technology than they have at this time. But it could be impossible because this aircraft looks abandoned and sealed for decades. I don't understand, thought Izawa. This ship are built by technology which even don't exist in Bakugo Industries. Nerveless, this plane looks so old it could have been built ages ago. Which showed another question, how this aircraft was concealed from SHIELD for so long. Passed by the cockpit agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. noticed something in there and decided to check it out but stopped by his partner's scream. ARGH, screamed Fukakato by slipping on ice floor. Careful, Emi, said Shota. The floor is literally ice. Inside the cockpit was a big block of ice. Curiously, Aizawa decided to look closer. What is exactly inside of this block of ice? Shaking off the snow, Shota finally sees what inside the block. He becomes stricken with shock. He cannot believe that inside the ice is him. How was it possible? It is impossible. It should not be possible. But why inside of this block of ice is him? Noticing his friend's reaction, Emmy decided to speak to him. "Oi, Aizawa, what is it?" screamed SHIELD Tech. "I can't believe it," bellowed Agent, before answering to his earpiece. "Base, give me a line to the Colonel Yagi." "It's 3 a.m., sir," argued voice from comm. "I don't care what time it is," argued back Shota. "This one's waited long enough." Nobody understood what made an agent of SHIELD so agitated, but if you look closer in the ice, then you could see circular object that is painted in red, blue, and white with big white star in the middle, which would answer your questions. Chapter 1. The Stain of HYDRA. March 1942, Tonsberg, Norway. World War II. Global war, which involved a vast majority of the world's nations, including all of the great powers, eventually forming two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis. Right now, a terrifying teenager, Jan, run to a church away from Nazi soldiers. When he went inside, Tower Keeper met him. "They have come for it," panicky screamed Jan in Norsk. "They have before," said Tower Keeper in Norsk, who is also trying to calm a poor teen down. "Not like this," argued Jan. "Let them come. They will never find it," argued Keeper back. "Please calm down." Before they knew it, something breaks down the door, destroying wall. This something is actually the massive tank. The Tower Keeper is trying to dig out poor Jan from blockage of stones. After he dig teenager out, he learns that it was too late. Jan is dead. After closing kids' eyes, the Keeper sees that many Nazis, all armed and ready to kill, come in. Suddenly, a black car drives to the tower. This car is a mix of the Mercedes-Benz 540K, the Mercedes-Benz W31 Type G4, and the Bentley Mark V. However, the most sinister in this vehicle is the symbol on the hood, which is a skull of Kraken with 6 tentacles. At the same time, soldiers are trying to lift the lid of a coffin. Nerveless, it is not as easy as it sounds because this lid is too heavy even for 5 soldiers. This made them feel a fear for their lives. They knew if they have no time, then he would kill them. "Open it," bellowed Lieutenant. It has taken me a long time to find this place," interrupted an intimidating man who get inside building. His appearance alone is putting fear in the hearts of his soldiers and his enemies. He is an intimidating, muscular 31-year-old man who is walking with a distinct hunch and has a flat, triangular face with strange nose. He has rather long black hair, which he wears in a messy fashion, and small blood-red eyes with tiny irises. He wears a long black leather coat with red symbols on the shoulders, black leather gloves, black trousers, black boots, and silver belt with the symbol on the belt buckle. All symbols the same like the one on the hood of his black car. On his belt tied an unsheathed katana and strange gun. Moreover, in his coat was hidden 5 small sharp knives. Anybody is feeling his murderous and malefic aura. His name is Kaizome Akaguro. He is the head of HYDRA Abteilung, a special weapons division of the Nazi Schutzstaffel. This man believed that this society is mired in corruption by the greedy people and decided to change it. Due to his strong ideology, he took it upon himself to join the Nazis and become Adolf Hitler's right hand to stain his own hands with blood to purge corruptive people and change the current society. "You should be commended," praised Kaizome before looking at his soldier. "Help him up." After one of the soldiers helped the poor Keeper to his feet, Akaguro slowly approaches him. "I think that you are a man of great vision," said Kree-Pilla Kaizome, "and in this way we are much alike." "I'm nothing like you," angrily defied the Tower Keeper. At his words, Akaguro fast as wind stabs poor man in the leg with his knife and then pulls it out. The Keeper's screams are music to his torturer's ears. "No, Of course, said Kaizon before licking his knife to taste blood. The poor victim became paralyzed from fear because of this display. But what others see as superstition, you and I know to be a science. What you seek is just a legend, answered Tower Keeper. Then why make such an effort to conceal it? Asked Akaguro, before astonished entire room by easily pushing lid that 5 soldiers couldn't push together from the coffin. Inside the old tomb is the skeletal remains of an old Viking, which is holding blue crystal cube. The Tesseract was the jewel of Odin's treasure room, said the Nazi before he deliberately drops and smashes the glass cube reveal that the object was fake. You're thinking that I do not know ancient myths. It is not something one buries, but I think it is close, yes? I cannot help you, answered Keeper. No, however, maybe you can help your village. You must have some friends out there. Some little grandchildren perhaps, sneered Kaizon. I have no need for them to die. At that moment, the massive tank outside turns his guns towards the village threateningly. Tower Keeper understood that he don't have a choice. On one hand, if he will keep this information to himself, then his entire village will be massacred, innocent children and elders will be dead. On the other hand, he could not let this monster get it. Alternatively, entire world will be doomed. Before Hostage could answer, Akaguro noticed the carving of the tree on one of the tower walls. Kaizon was studying many legends and myths, but he believed that they exist. That is why he easily recognized that the tree on the walls is Yggdrasil, Tree of the World, guardian of wisdom and fate. Also, said the Nazi. He presses a button on the carving of the tree, and it opens up to reveal the little chest. When the chest was open, an entire room was glowing with majestic blue light. An entire tower are feeling the great power from it. Keeper only could watch in regret that couldn't protect the Tesseract from hands of evil. He. And the Führer digs for trinkets in the desert, sneered Kaizon in delight. You have never seen this, have you? It's not for the eyes of ordinary men, said desperately Tower Keeper. Exactly, said Akaguro, closing the chest and turning to his soldiers. Gove the order to open fire. Yes, said the lieutenant. Fool, you cannot control the power you hold. You will burn, bellowed Keeper. I already have, smirked Kaizon before shooting the old man in the chest and killing him. Kaizon was pleased because by obtaining the Tesseract, he finally could achieve his grand plan to purge this world from evil and corruption. Moreover, nothing and nobody could stop him. Chapter 2. Kid with a dream to be a soldier. 1943 New York. To counter enemies, forces the Allies are trying to recruit many young men to fight the war. At the one of many enrollment facility are sitting many volunteers waiting their turn. All these guys have different motivations to join the army, such as women's attention, fame, money, application for future job, or to kill Nazis. Except the one who decided to join army to protect weak and innocent from evil like a hero. Boy, a lot of guys getting killed over there, commented Teen. The said Teen is very short for his age. His body is whitely pale and very skinny. His round face framed by a short mess of fluffy dark green hair, which sticks up at odd angles around his head, casting noticeably dark shadows onto itself. His eyes are large and somewhat circular. Their irises the same green color as his hair and stretched quite wide, giving him an innocent appearance. He has a set of 4 symmetrical freckles in diamond formations, one on each cheek. Others often describe him as being plain-looking. He almost looks like a sick kid. His name is Izuku Midoriya, and he is 17 years old. He wanted to become a soldier all his life, to protect people from bullies with a bright smile. That is his dream. Unfortunately, his dream can't realized because of his many illness and because the military didn't allow people with the age younger than 21. However, that didn't stop Izuku from trying. Midoriya, Izuku, called for F Doctor. It kind of makes you think twice about enlisting, asked enlistment guy. Nope, answered Izuku without hesitation. When half-naked Izuku got to the doctor, he was shaking from fear and embarrassment. The fear because he changed his date of birth to be accepted. something that prohibited. Moreover, embarrassment because of his shyness and half-nakedness. Midoriya. At doctor's words, Izuku stiffened. What did your father die of? Mustard gas. His name was Hisashi Midoriya, answered Izuku in sadness. He was in the 107th Infantry. I was hoping I could be assigned. Your mother, interrupted Dr. Inko Midoriya. She was a nurse in a TB ward. Got hit, couldn't shake it, said Izuku, becoming sadder remembering his golden heart mother. Doctor didn't care about the tragic story of his dead parents. He only cared about if this one could be fit for military. He already knew the answer by looking at Midoriya Medic's file. This teen have many illness than all enlistments combined. Sorry, son, sai doctor. Look, just give me a chance, please, said Izuku in despair. You'd be ineligible on your asthma alone, argued Doctor. Please, you have to understand it. It's just this always was my dream. To become a soldier who protects people from bullies with a heroic smile, confessed Midoriya. Is there anything you can do? I'm doing it, answered Doctor. At his words, Izuku's entire body was fuel with hope. Finally his chance to prove himself, to achieve his dream. I'm saving your life. Only to be completely crushed by the sound of stamp on the card. Upset, Midoriya decided to go away. He already knew that he wouldn't be accepted to join the military again. Doctor saw the state in which he put this kid. He understood this one's motivation. However, he knew that you can't be a soldier only with dream without strength to back you up. Moreover, military is no place for a naive child. Kid, you should forget about your dream. It's impossible for you to accomplish, called Doctor. It's good a dream. However, you have to make them more realistic. Izuku heard everything, but he already heard these words many times. He knew that they are right. However, he couldn't stop himself to let go his dream. Not now, not ever. In addition, with this news, he was gone for a walk. After 2 hours of walking, Izuku decided to go to the cinema to watch a new movie, which was about a superhero duet of mentor and pupil, which protect the world from evil. He sometimes was wishing to be born in the world in which everybody has superpowers. At least in that world, he would fight to protect people. Before the movie started, a commercial about the war is playing. The moment where a little child was showing collecting scrap metal put Midoriya in more misery because that kid at the screen looks the same as himself. War continues to ravage Europe, but help is on the way. Every able-bodied young man is lining up to serve his country. Even little Timmy is doing his part collecting scrap metal. Nice work, Timmy. However, not everyone was enjoying this commercial. Who cares? Play the movie already, screamed some jerk. Hey, you want to show some respect? Quietly said Izuku, who couldn't believe that someone would be so disrespectful and mean to something important and serious such as war. Meanwhile, overseas, our brave boys are showing the Axis powers that the price freedom is never too high. Let's go. Get on with it. Hey, just start the cartoon, screamed the same jerk again, disturbing entire room. Hey, buddy, you want to shut up? Screamed Midoriya, already fed up with this guy attitude. After realizing what he just said, he shut his mouth with both his hands. Unfortunately, the loud jerk heard him and turned to him with expression that said, "You're gonna get it." Izuku already knew that after the cinema, he would die. After movie ended, Izuku was running away at full speed to escape the mean jerk. However, he had been caught on exit and had been pushed to dark alley by the same jerk. The first punch caught him off guard, but didn't stop him from fight back. Unfortunately, Midoriya's attacks didn't even meet their target because the second punch from the bully made Izuku land on the garbage cans. Getting up to fight, he picked trash can lid to use as shield. He wasn't planning to go down so easily. You just don't know when to give up, do you? Sneered jerk. I can do this all day, huffed Izuku in defiance. That sentence didn't make his opponent to surrender. He'd just take his shield away and punch him in the face for the last time. Midoriya was down on the ground. Before Bully could continue the beating, he was interrupted. Hey, pick on someone your own size, said the voice. Before the bully could understand what is happening, he was grabbed from behind and was stumbling to the ground before being punched in the face. After seeing that he was outmatched jerk run away like a coward. Sometimes I think you like getting punched, commented Izuku's savior. He's a reasonably tall, rather muscular young 18 years old man who is well built for his age. He has quite long hair, though it doesn't pass his neck, and wears bangs, parted twice as to not obscure his vision. His hair is evenly split between two colors, white on his right side and crimson red on his left. He also possesses heterochromia iridium, which causes his left eye's iris to appear turquoise, while his right is a somewhat brownish dark gray. His eyes, in shape, are quite thin and reserved, and he has a large burn scar on the left side of his face, which reaches from his hairline to halfway down his cheek. Some girls have claimed that he is incredibly handsome. His name is Shoto Todoroki. He is wearing standard sergeant uniform. He is Izuku's best friend who always save him from problems and bullies. They become friends since they were 4 years old. When bullies attacked Izuku, Shoto decided standing up for him, but got overpowered when the bullies grouped up on him and held him down and poured hot water from a pipe, leaking scathing hot water from nearby on his face. That's exactly how Todoroki gained his scar. That's also was a major part of why Izuku doesn't like bullies. After this incident, those two were always together. When Inko Midoriya died, the Todoroki family decided to adopt him, but Izuku declined. He didn't want to bother them. Rei Todoroki, Shoto's widowed mother, already have 3 children, Fuyumi and Natsuo Todoroki, Shoto's older sister and brother. After the tragedy, they promised each other that they always would be together to the end of the line. I had him on the ropes, answered Izuku, slowly getting up. On the ground, Shoto sees Midoriya's enlistment form and understood that his friend once more was trying to join military. How many times is this? Asked Todoroki, flipping the file. Oh, you're from Paramus now? You know it's illegal to lie on the enlistment form and to change your date of birth. And seriously, Jersey? Pot call the kettle black, argued Izuku back. You change your date of birth either. In addition, it works for you. You get your orders? Well, it's not my fault that I look older than many people think. And yes, I do. The 107th. Sergeant Shoto Todoroki saluted Shoto, shipping out for England first thing tomorrow. I should be going, said Midoriya dejectedly. He was happy that his best friend will fight in the war. However, he was also sad that the same trick didn't for him like for his friend. Wait, Izuku. My last night, I already said goodbye to my folks. I want to spend this day with my best friend, said concerned Todoroki. Gotta get you cleaned up. Why? Where are we going? Asked Midoriya astonishedly. The future, smirked Shoto at his friend, giving him the newspaper he was holding. Natsuo bought tickets for us. He said that this will be interesting. Izuku opens it to see the ad for World Exposition of Tomorrow, 1943. He heard about it. It's about gathering many scientists, engineers, and inventors at one place to show everybody their creations. Some young and rich genius created it. Midoriya decides to go with Shoto. Maybe it could distract him from his problems. Izuku didn't know that the visit to this expo will change his life forever. Chapter 3. World Exposition of Tomorrow. When Izuku said that the expo is just gathering of scientists, he was really underestimating it. This expo brings minds together from around the world and combines them to try and develop new inventions to improve quality of life for mankind and the world in the future. This was the reason why Shoto said that they going to the future. The walk to the expo didn't make Izuku a little happier. Shoto was upset that his friend hadn't been accepted to military. He knows about his dream to be a soldier for several years and knew that his motivation to serve his country is right. On the other hand, he also knows that doctors are right about Midoriya being unfit to join the army because of his health issues. If only his friend had better health, then he would be the greatest soldier of all time. He wanted to cheer Izuku up, but knows that he had great problem to express his emotions. That was job for his brother. Speak of a devil. At the entrance, they meet Shoto's older brother, Natsuo Todoroki. He is above average height, sporting white spiky hair, with 2 short strands hanging down either side of his forehead. The most notable thing in him is his rewound hand in sling. He broke it when he fell from the tree. That was the reason he hadn't been accepted in the military. Natsuo also has an easygoing personality. He cares deeply for his family and exhibits his serious side when dealing with sensitive family topics. "Hello, boys," greeted Natsuo, showing them around. "This will be your last night before fighting at the front lines." "Hey, Izuku, why so long face?" "He hadn't been accepted to join," explained Shoto. "I don't see what the problem is. You're about to be the last eligible man in New York. You know, there's 3.5 million women here," concluded Natsuo, trying to cheer Izuku up. "Well, I'd settle for just one," answered Midoriya. He already decided for himself that if he would ever had a girl, then he will always love her and not cheat on her. "Me also," said Shoto. He, just like his friend, decided that he wouldn't be a womanizer, just like his brother. "Good thing your big brother took care of that," answered Natsuo. He waves to the 3 women at the edge of the biggest stage. The boy sees that 2 of them are probably the same age as themselves, and the third one is the same age as Natsuo. Shoto and Izuku understood his plan. He organized the triple date for all of them. "Hey, Natsuo," greeted the oldest woman. Her name is Donnie. "Why did you organize this date in the first place?" asked Izuku. "Just like I said, today your last night. Shoto, you wouldn't see another girl for a long time. Izuku, without my little brother, you would need someone to look out for you. As for me, I just want a good time with a pretty young woman," explained Natsuo. "What did you tell them about us?" sighed Midoriya. "Only the good stuff," answered Natsuo, greeting 3 women. "Hello, Donnie. The half-and-half one is my little bro Shoto. The green-haired one is Izuku." "Nice to meet you too," greeted Donnie. "These 2 girls are my twin sisters, Connie and Bonnie. Girls, say hello to boys." "Hello," greeted girls. Shoto at this reply showed them a genuine smile. However, Izuku can only stammering and trembling and blushing at them. He hadn't gained enough experience of how to act around the girls. Because of his condition and short stature, all girls avoids him like a plague. Right now, Connie and Bonnie didn't know what to do in a situation like this. Fortunately, everybody were saved when music starts playing. It was mean that the main event is about to begin. "Welcome to the Modern Marvels Pavilion and the world of tomorrow. A greater world, a better world," announced Expo announcer. "Oh my God, it's starting. Let's go, girls," said Donnie. When everybody were running to the biggest stage, Izuku noticed that his date is almost glued to Shoto's left side, and on the right side is also glued on his left side. Midoriya knew that date would end this way. Many girls deem Todoroki handsome, and he couldn't blame them with his bicolor hair and bicolor eyes gives Shoto exotic look. On the stage are 5 dancing girls near a 1 red car. One of them takes microphone and announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Mitsuki Bakugo." At her words on the stage enters the ash-blonde spiked hair woman in her late teens with red eyes. She wears long red dress, which hugged her in all right places. Her name is Mitsuki Bakugo. She is CEO of Bakugo Industries, which is an industrial company that creates weapons for United States Armed Forces. She is the one created this expo at the first place. Don't let her good looks and age fool you. She maybe looks beautiful, but she have the most brilliant mind of this century. She's also the one who create the same weapons. However, she has an ill-tempered and aggressive personality and can punch anyone in the face if you insult her. Taking microphone from main dancing girl and thanking her, she decided to talk to her audience. Izuku is surprised to see the young and beautiful woman is brilliant mind and CEO of the biggest industrial company in USA. "We love you, Mitsuki," screamed entire male audience. "Hello, New York," she addressed the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that in just a few short years, your automobile won't even have to touch the ground at all?" Girls on the stage already started to take the wheels of the car. "Thanks, Mandy. You are wonderful. With Bakugo robotic reversion technology, you'll be able to do just that," addressed Mitsuki to the audience. At the end, she flipped the switch of her machine, and the car starts to hover off the ground. An entire audience can't believe what's happening. The car float on the thin air. Nobody could imagine something like this to exist. However, this woman not only did imagine that she also created it. At this second, Izuku's respect for Mitsuki grew more. Holy cow, said Shoto, and couldn't help but agree with him. Unfortunately, the robots making the car hover suddenly malfunction and the car falls back on stage. But that didn't stop public from clapping hands for this show. Hee, I did say a few years, didn't I? Said Mitsuki, hiding her nervousness by joking. Fortunately, the audience appreciate the joke by laughing at it. But Izuku didn't hurt it. Instead, he sees one more recruitment establishment and decides to test his luck again. When Natsuo suggests taking the girls on the dance, Shoto sees that Izuku disappeared. They also see one more recruitment establishment. You didn't need to be a genius to put 2 and 2 together. He doing it again, sighed Natsuo. You should talk to him. You are only one which you would listen. You are overestimated me, said Shoto. He is not listening to me either. And also I believe that he will be a great soldier. I know that Izuku's heart and dream at the right place, explained Natsuo. But you should accept that with his conditions, he would be dead before even stepping to the front lines. I know crushing his dream would destroy him, but he would be alive. And one day he would understand and forgive us. Shoto understood that his brother is right about it. Izuku's dream is pretty much too naive and idealistic for his own good. And no matter how painful it is for him to do, he would do it and save his best friend from himself. At the recruitment center, Izuku watches as young couple stands on the mirror, making the man look like a soldier. When Midoriya steps in front of the mirror to try on himself, but unfortunately, he's too short to fill out the face. Come on, Izuku. You're kind of missing the point of a triple date. We're taking the girls dancing, said Shoto, startling Midoriya. I know I don't want to be in there too, but you need to vindicate yourself to girls. They still are pretty freaked out after your show. It was terrible. Is it? Groaned Izuku, already knowing the answer. Well, at least you didn't fainted like the last time, answered Shoto. You go ahead. I'll catch up with you, said Midoriya. You're really going to do this again? Asked Todoroki. He knows what his friend is planning already. Well, it's a fair. I'm going to try my luck, answered Izuku. As who? Izuku from Ohio? They'll catch you. Or worse, they'll actually take you. You should stop. Try to explain the situation, Shoto. Look, I know you and everybody else don't think I can do this, said Midoriya. This isn't a back alley, Izuku. It's war, argued Shoto. With your health, you wouldn't survive a moment at the front lines. I always respect your dream to be a soldier, but it's gone too far. If you want to be a soldier, just wait for a few years. For 5 years more, and you'll be accepted. You're only a year older than me, and you're an army. And I know it's a war. You don't have to tell me, said Izuku. It's just that I can't stop myself from trying more and more. Why are you so keen to fight? There are so many important jobs. Tried Todoroki to reasoning with his friend by showing him alternative options. What am I going to do? Collect scrap metal, argued Izuku. Yes, why not? Interrupted Shoto, not seeing anything wrong with this job. In my little red wagon, deadpanned Midoriya. Don't see anything wrong with that, honestly said Todoroki. Also, I need someone to watch out for my family. I'm not going to sit in a factory, Shoto, said Izuku. And you have Fuyumi and Natsuo to take care of your mother. And it's your family who watch out for me and who treats me like a child. I don't mean, tried Shoto to explain everything. Shoto, come on, interrupted Midoriya. There are men laying down their lives. I got no right to do any less than them. I just can't watch it and don't do anything. That's what you don't understand. This isn't about me. It's about innocent people. Right, I know it. 'Cause you got nothing to prove, commented Todoroki. You have more guts and heart than any grown-up man. That's what I respect in you. But you can't be a soldier without strength. I am sorry, Izuku, but it's true and you know it. That was the most painful moment for two of them. Izuku, because he knows that even his best friend don't believe in him and his strength. However, inside of him, he knows that Shoto only wants to protect him and that he is right about his condition. Todoroki also feels terrible for crushing his best friend's dream, but he knows that this is for better. But that didn't stop him from feeling disgust for himself. Fortunately, they were saved by appearance of their dates. "Hey, Sarge, are we going dancing?" asked Connie. "Yes, we are," answered Shoto before looking back at Izuku. "Don't do anything stupid and reckless until I get back." "How can I? You're taking all the stupid with you," joked Izuku. "Maybe, but you still the reckless 1 inch," joked Todoroki back. He later comes to his friend and hugs him goodbye. "Reckless punk. Stupid jerk. Be careful," said Midoriya tearfully. Before Shoto could exit the facility, Izuku called, "Don't win the war till I get there." Shoto hadn't need to answer him, he just salutes to indicate that he will wait Izuku there. Chapter 4. The Fateful Meeting. After serious talk with Shoto, Izuku went to the medical examination room to be accepted. Before examination could start, a nurse enters the room and whispers something inaudible to Doctor. "Wait here," ordered Doctor. "Is there a problem?" asked alarmed Izuku. "Just wait here," said Doctor before he walks out. Izuku stayed alone in bewilderment and couldn't understand what's wrong. Why Doctor just tell him to wait here? What a nurse whispered to Doctor. Before he sees a sign, "It is illegal to falsify your enlistment form." Midoriya finally understood what's wrong. They learned that his form's data are fake and they're gonna arrest him. In panic, Izuku starts to pack his things and run away from here. Before he could escape an enlistment office, MP walks in the room and Izuku looks up at him scaredly. That's it. That's his final moment. They're gonna arrest and lock him up in the prison. He is never gonna see his friends. But the worst thing is that he would never be accepted by the army because of his criminal record. Fortunately, before he could faint, Dr. Abraham Erskine enters the room as enlistment office MP quietly leaves. Seeing office MP leaving makes Izuku sighs in relief. They're not going to arrest him. However, it gives him new questions. Who is this man? And why he need him? "So, you want to go overseas? Kill some Nazis? Glorify yourself?" unexpectedly asked Dr. Erskine. "Eh?" asked dumbly Izuku. "Oh, where are my manners? The name is Dr. Abraham Erskine. I represent the Strategic Scientific Reserve, or SSR for short," introduced himself Dr. Abraham. Izuku and Midoriya stuttered nervously. His breath is caught in his throat when Erskine was looking through his files. Nevertheless, he wasn't afraid about it. For some reasons, he had a feeling that he can trust this person because Abraham have an unusual positive and kind aura around him. That's why he decided to ask him a question. "Where are you from?" "Queens, 73rd Street and Utopia Parkway. Before that, Germany." "This troubles you?" answered Abraham, not seeing anything wrong with that. "And not at all," quickly answered Izuku, not wanting to offend the kind doctor. "Where are you from, Mr. Rogers?" Is it New Haven or Paramus?" 5 exams in 5 different cities. "Also, by your looks, I think that you are not from America at all or have the right age to serve an army," deduced Erskine. "TT, that might not be the right file," alarmed Midoriya. "If they really gonna arrest him, he can't endure this suspense any longer." "Hee hee, don't worry. It's not the exams I'm interested in. It's the 5 tries," said Dr. Erskine, calming poor kid's heart down. "But you didn't answer my question. Do you want to kill Nazis?" "Is this a test?" asked Izuku, expecting a dirty trick. "Yes," said Erskine honestly. This one word is enough to destroy Izuku's doubt. "I don't want to kill anyone. I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from," answered Midoriya. "It started when I was littler. However, I don't think that my story would be interesting enough to listen." "Why are you so sure about it? Try me. Maybe I would find it interesting," challenged Abraham to Izuku. "Just like you deduce you are right, I wasn't born in America," started to tell his history Izuku. "I was born in Japan, but because of my dad's work, my family decided to immigrate to the America before my father's death. I was little, weak, and didn't know the language. That's why I hadn't have friends. When I was 4, I was attacked by bullies, but was saved by my future best friend. His family actually emigrated from Japan too. However, he was overpowered when they grouped up on him, held him down, and poured hot water from a pipe, leaking scathing hot water from nearby on his face. That earned him a burn scar on his face. After this, I was dreaming to become a heroic soldier who protects weak and innocent from bullies with a smile on his face. After his story ended, Izuku was expecting a doctor to critic about his childish dream like everybody else. But his story made completely different outcome on Erskine than Midoriya expected. Abraham is pleased with young one's answer. If he had any doubts about his choice of person before, then they are destroyed because this one is the perfect candidate. Much better than him. You know your dream is pretty much his, began Dr. Erskine. Childish, naive, and foolish, interrupted Izuku, already knowing the answer. He heard it hundreds of times. Yes, it is. But the word I was looking for is heroic, said Abraham. At his words, Midoriya comes in a stupor. Nobody said anything good about his dream ever. He hadn't noticed that his eyes starts to fill with tears. Well, there are already so many big men fighting this war. Maybe what we need now is the little guy, huh? I can offer you a chance. Izuku couldn't believe his ears. This man first claimed that he didn't care about his conditions and fake files. Second, he listened to his life story and his dream and didn't laugh at it. And finally, he gives him a chance to become a soldier, to finally achieve his dream. He mentally tweaked himself to make sure that he is not sleeping. He is not. Only a chance. Dr. Abraham continued, exiting the room with Midoriya. I'll take it, quickly said Izuku. It's much more than anybody else ever give to me. Good. So where's the little guy from? Actually, smiled Erskine at Izuku's enthusiasm. And how old are you? Brooklyn. And I am 17 years old, answered Izuku. Congratulates Izuku, Midoriya, said Abraham, stamping Izuku's form and hand him back his file. Izuku opens up the file and sees that he's been stamped as accepted. It means that he is finally would become a soldier. You could be a soldier. Chapter 5, beginning. Alps, Hydra headquarters. Alps, the highest and most extensive mountain range system that lies entirely in Europe. Nobody could even guess that inside one of the mountains carved out deep within is the HYDRA main headquarters. Right now, inside one of the rooms of headquarters, Kaizome Akaguro and one scientist is working with Tesseract. He is short man in his late 50s. He wears brown lab coat, black boots, black gloves, and red bow tie. His name is Moya Kirojiri. He is a Hydra main scientist. He is from Switzerland. He is a man of dubious morality. There was no crime he wasn't willing to commit if that could help him in his scientific experiments. He also is a coward who follows Hydra out of fear. Right now, he is setting his machine to extract energy from the Tesseract to his weapons. Are you ready, Dr. Kirojiri? Asked impatiently Kaizome. My machine requires the most delicate calibration, answered Moya, looking in the microscope-like invention. Forgive me if I seem overcautious. And are you certain that those conductors of yours can withstand the energy surge long enough for a transference? Asked Akaguro, looking in the mythology documents. With this artifact, I am certain of nothing. It's an unpredictable, screamed Kirojiri. I fear it may not work at all. Not listening to his colleague predictions, Kaizome opens the chest, which contains Tesseract, lighting an entire room in blue glow. Then he using a strange device to pick it up because he knows that touching it with bare hands is inevitable death. After inserting it into the machine, Kirojiri starts it up. 20%, 40, 60, stabilizing at 70%, said Moya, looking at the screen. He isn't insane. He knows if they would use power at 100%, then they could die. Unfortunately, Akaguro isn't patient. He finally finds infinite power source to use for his own case. He couldn't just delay it any longer because of some precautions. I have not come all this way for safety, Doctor, said Kaizome, angrily pushing Moya away and taking over the controls. He turns the controls up to maximum, and then hell breaks loose. An entire room is covering in blue light and blue lightning. Both scientists standing at the place astonished by the power of Tesseract. After what seemed eternal, the lights finally goes out. What is that? Asked terrified Kirojiri. However, all Akaguro attention is on the single blue capsule which shines in bright blue light. Is putting smile on his face because it means that Moya's machine is working. They successfully extract power from the Tesseract. They could use it. His ambitions finally will be fruited. I must congratulate you, Kurojairi. Your designs do not disappoint, sinisterly smiled Kaizome, though they may require some slight reinforcement. The exchange is stable. Amazing. The energy we have just collected could power my design, all my designs, happily screamed Kurojairi. He couldn't believe that his machine worked. He will be the most infamous scientist in the history, no matter the cost. This will change the war. Dr. Kurojairi, your genius doesn't have any limits, commented Akaguro. But unfortunately, you don't think big. This will change not only the war. No, this will change the world. Kaizome is right. This will completely change the world we know. However, he doesn't understand what it will lead to. New York, Seaport. The next day is the most heartbreaking day for both Todorokis and Midoriya. Today is the day that Shoto will say goodbye to his family. Rei and Fuyumi couldn't stop crying and hugging their baby brother and baby son. Rei has straight shoulder-length white hair with rather long bangs over her face and tired-looking brown-gray eyes with reasonably long eyelashes. Rei is kind, caring, and loving towards Shoto Todoroki, and in return, he loved her deeply. Fuyumi is a young woman of average height with intelligent turquoise eyes. She has white hair, flecked with a few noticeable traces of a crimson-like color, which is mostly shoulder-length aside from the ear-length side bangs she sports and the short clump she leaves hanging down her forehead. She works as a teacher at elementary school. I couldn't believe that you so grow up, said tearfully Fuyumi. I just remember when you were a little baby who just learned how to walk. Come on, sis. Get a grip. You're going to crush him to death, said Natsuo. And I'm sorry, Shoto, if I didn't broke my arm. You wouldn't went to the military. Natsuo, it's okay. It was my choice all alone, said Shoto. It's a pity that Izuku already went away. At his words, they had on their faces. Yesterday, he said that he finally was accepted to the military. They were happy for him, but that couldn't stop them from worrying. They know that he never gives up and will fight to the end. Before going to the port, they said goodbye to him this morning. He sat in the car with a kind old man who promises them that nothing bad will ever happen to him, and drive off to the Jersey. I still can't believe that they accepted him, commented Natsuo. Just like I said, he may be small, but he most hardworking person I ever met, said Shoto. Before they could continue, they were interrupted by the steamship humming. It means that ship's starting to depart in England. Well, I must go, said Shoto. Thank you for everything you've done to me. I love all of you. Goodbye. Shoto, wait, screamed Rei, surprising everybody that normally quiet woman can shout so loud. She hugged her son and told him with tears streaming down her face, please come back home alive. We will wait you. At her words, Shoto starts crying and hugs his mother back before letting go and went to the ship. At the steamship, he thinks about the adventures he would have at the front. However, that couldn't stop him from worrying about his best friend. But he knows that nothing would ever stop him from his dream. What he didn't know that at the same time Izuku, riding to the Camp Lee in Jersey, thinks about the same thing as his friend. What both of them didn't know that the greatest and most dangerous adventure awaits them. This is just the beginning of this adventure. Chapter 6. Hell at the Camp Lehigh. New Jersey, Camp Lehigh. Izuku couldn't stop smiling from the moment when his foot entered military training camp. Camp Lehigh. He finally will learn how to be a soldier. However, there are some cons. The first is his uniform. Because of his small stature, there wasn't any his sizes, and he is now wearing the uniform which is 2 sizes too big, and his head is sinking in that helmet. The second reason is that everybody's staring at him in bewilderment and giving him a look which says, what did this kid forgot here? Right now, he stands in the line, sticking out like a sore thumb, with others who gives him a look of annoyance. Recruits, attention, interrupted the beautiful voice with England accent. Izuku turned to the source of voice, only to blush red upon seeing her. She is a young woman in his age, maybe 3 or 4 years older. She is a full-figured and attractive pale-skinned young woman of slightly above average height with quite a round face. She has wavy blonde hair, which reaches halfway down her back. Two shorter pieces she leaves over her shoulders, side-swept bangs that frames her face, aqua blue eyes with notable upper eyelashes, some slightly longer ones extending on each side, and pronounced lower eyelashes. She is really beautiful. However, she is not so delicate like everybody sees her. She can stand for herself. Her name is Melissa Peggy Shield. She is an agent of SSR. And despite her gender, she became one of the greatest and youngest agent in SSR. Gentlemen, I'm Agent Shield. I supervise all operations for this division. Introduce herself Peggy to this division. What's with the accent, Queen Victoria? Thought I was signing up for the U.S. Army, asked one of the soldier in cocky manner, looking at her up and down. Izuku already wanted to say him about respecting woman. She is more than piece of meat that everybody can stare at. Fortunately, he don't need to. What's your name, soldier? Asked Shield calmly. Gilmore Hodge, your majesty, answered Hodge mockingly, bowing his head. Step forward, Hodge, ordered female agent. Bully soldier steps forward smirking. If this little girl thinking that she is in charge, then he would gladly show her place. Put your right foot forward. We gonna wrestle? 'Cause I got a few moves I know you'll like, said Gilmore, already thinking that he won. Unfortunately for him, it is not true because suddenly Agent punches him hard in the face, making him fall to the ground. This made an entire troop to laugh. Even Izuku did crack a smile. At that moment, another face comes to them. He is old man in the military uniform. He is in his early 60s. However, despite his age, he can kick your butt. His name is Colonel Chester Phillips. He is officer of the USA and the director of the SSR. Agent Shield, greeted Colonel. Colonel Phillips greeted Shield back. I see you're breaking in the candidates. That's good, said Phillips. He looks at the Hodge before addressing to him. Get your ass up out of that dirt and stand in that line at attention till somebody comes tells you what to do. Yes, sir, said Gilmore, already losing his bravado before. General Patton has said that wars are fought with weapons, but they are won by men. We're going to win this war because we have the best men, explained Colonel, looking at Izuku in disgust. He still couldn't believe that Dr. Erskine chose a kid as candidate for the project, but knows that he need nothing to worry about. By the child's looks, he couldn't last more than 2 days. And because they're going to get better, much better. The Strategic Scientific Reserve is an allied effort made up of the best minds in the free world. Our goal is to create the best army in history. But every army starts with one man. At the end of this week, we will choose that man. He will be the first in a new breed of super soldiers. At his explanation, Izuku, perking up thinking about what this project could do to his body. It could finally heal him from many illnesses. But he also knows that anybody in this troop wants to be a number one. And he knows that everybody in this camp have more experience, stamina, and strength. They are all much better than me, thought Izuku. They are bigger, stronger, and older than me. I don't have a little chance against them. But I can't give up. Dr. Erskine have given me a chance to join the army. He is the first who believed in me. I can't let him down. It means I had to work twice harder than them. Midoriya, stop mumbling when I am talking, screamed Chester. Izuku just now understood that he was mumbling around, not thinking. It makes him a laughing stock in the faces of all soldiers. Even Agent Shield is quietly giggling at him. Just like I was saying before, rudely interrupted. And these super soldiers will personally escort Adolf Hitler to the gates of hell. This is how began Izuku's hell at the Camp Lehigh. Izuku was right. This training is living hell. It was taking all his energy, making him fall behind everybody else. When they weren't training, everybody were fighting each other, but Midoriya was studying about the war, strategy, mechanisms, everything that could help him to win. In addition, he was writing his plan about his perfect training in his notebook, which he always keeping to himself to think or to draw. In addition, thanks to his failures, he is also bullied constantly by his peers, especially Hodge, because of his weaknesses. They were also making sure that he would be thrown up from the camp by pushing him around on exercises to make him a weak fool in the eyes of Colonel Phillips. But Izuku is determined and couldn't give up without the fight. Right now, all trainees are running around the camp. Only Izuku is lagging behind. They all stop when they arrive to the waiting Agent Shield and a flagpole. Much to the poor Midoriya's relief. His lungs are burning from so much running. Squad, halt. That flag means we're only at the halfway point. First man to bring it to me gets a ride back with Agent Shield, said his drill Sergeant Duffy, giving his troops an opportunity to ride back easily. Move, ladies, move. All soldiers were missing woman's company, and nobody could lose the chance to spend time with a beautiful young woman. That's why when Sergeant gave his commands, every man was jumping at the pole to take the flag like a bunch of stupid monkeys. However, nobody could climb high enough to take it. Everybody were sliding down. If that's all you got, this army's in trouble. Get up there, Hodge, screamed Duffy, seeing that best candidate to the project is sliding down on the flagpole. Come on, get up there. Nobody's got that flag in 17 years. Now, fall back in a line. Come on, fall in. Let's go. Get back into formation. What nobody is noticing that Izuku is studying this pole. And he learned that this thing's construction is very simple. If you pull a pin out at the bottom of the pole, then it will fall. Midoriya, I said fall in, repeated Sergeant, already tired about waiting this kid. Then Izuku do something that surprised everybody. He pulls a pin out at the bottom of the pole, causing it to fall over. He then takes the flag and gives it to Sergeant. Thank you, sir, he said before going to the car, climbs in it, and drive away from them. All soldiers could only watch with open mouths. They couldn't just believe that this asthmatic kid just take the flag from the pole, something that nobody could do in the 17 years. He made all of them look like a bunch of idiots, and they are not happy. I can't believe that he did it. He made us look like fools, commented one of the soldiers. And he's going to pay for this, said Hodge. The ride is pretty much as calm. His pain and lungs already disappeared. Nothing dangerous going to come to them. Hey, unexpectedly said Shield. On the ride, nobody was saying a word, and Izuku was happy with that. He could have made a fool out of himself in front of her. He just can't endure presence of girl. It was pretty smart thing you did at the pole. That put his brain at stop. No girl ever talked to him before, let alone complimented him. Nobody really could take this flag for 17 years. Everybody were trying to climb this pole only to fall. Some even trying to make a stairs using each other and climb up only to fail. And you easily defeated all of them by 2 moves, continued female agent. Ugh, could only said Izuku with his fry brain. You know, I'm glad that especially you won, commented Shield. It's just all men in that place are overconfident pricks. They don't know anything about taking care of a woman. I know that I'm pretty, but I don't like that everybody's staring at me like a piece of meat. They also always tells me that military not a place for a woman. At least you didn't act like them. At her words, Izuku could just frown. He just heard her real, quiet voice. All week he saw her as strong, fierce, and independent person. And he learned that she can be sometimes vulnerable. He can't believe that everybody treating her like a price. She is a woman who shows us her own path. Thank you for listening to me. It really helped, said Agent Shield. I am Agent Shield. Oh, you already knows that. But you can call me Peggy, Izuku. Before Izuku could answer, they already arrived to the camp's front side. Stepping down from the car, Peggy says happily, well, that's my stop. I hope we will talk again. However, Izuku hadn't heard her. Right now, inside his head is only one thought. I just talked to a girl. Midoriya, in so delight that he didn't seize a phrase, didn't actually talk. He's so happy. Finally, a girl talked to him nevertheless of his stature, illnesses, awkwardness, and stutterers. In addition, not just any girl, it was the most beautiful girl in the world. Nothing could ruin his today. At least that was he thought. Ack, said surprisingly Izuku. He was so happy about Peggy he didn't notice that someone pushed him in the mud. Maybe you won today, kid, said Hodge, who just ended his long run. But the first super soldier will be me. That made Midoriya open eyes and remembered that he still have a long way to go. After everybody returned to the camp, the soldiers are doing the next set of exercises, and Peggy is commanding them to do it. Right now they're doing push-ups. Faster, ladies. Come on. My grandmother has more life in her. God rest her soul. Move it, she said. Meanwhile, Colonel Phillips and Dr. Erskine walks around the camp and discusses about final candidates on the project. And Colonel is not happy with Doctor's choice. You're not really thinking about picking that Midoriya kid, are you? Asked Chester in bewilderment. I'm more than just thinking about it. He is the clear choice, answered Abraham without hesitation. When you brought a 17-year-old, 90-pound asthmatic child on my army base, I let it slide. I thought, what the hell? Maybe he'll be useful to you, like a gerbil. I never thought you'd pick him, said in disgust Phillips. Seeing that both men watching her, she orders the troops to get up and do jumping jack. Only Izuku's struggling whilst training with the other new recruits. Look at him, said Colonel watching at Midoriya. You stick a needle in that kid's arm, and it's going to go right through him. Come on, girls, ordered Peggy. Look at that. He's making me cry, continued Colonel Phillips in almost pity. We can't wait before he grows up. We need a super soldier now. I know that he is too young for this, explained Dr. Erskine. I'm looking for qualities beyond the physical. And this one, nevertheless of his age, is the most hard-working man I ever seen. Do you know how long it took to set up this project? Exasperatedly asked Colonel. Yeah, I know, answered Doctor. All the groveling I had to do in front of Senator What's-His-Name's committees, continued Chester. Brant, answered Abraham, not also liking this senator either. Yes, I know. I am well aware of your efforts. Then, throw me a bone. Hodge passed every test we gave him, Phillips said, pointing at his favorite who was doing the exercise much active than others. He's big, he's fast, he obeys orders. He's an adult man. He's a soldier. Why not him? He's a bully, answered Erskine. It is his only explanation on Colonel's question. War is not a playground. It's not a place for children. Already tired from this argument. Looking at the box with grenades gives Colonel Phillips an idea to prove the doctor wrongness about his choice. You don't win wars with niceness, Doctor, Colonel Phillips continued, taking a hand grenade. You win wars with guts. He then throws the grenade at where the new recruits are training before screaming, Grenade! The second soldiers saw grenade, they all panicked and run away. Except the one. The second Izuku saw it, his body moves by its own, and then he jumps on top of it, covering it. Get away! Get back! Screamed Midoriya to everybody. He couldn't explain what is happening. 1 second he sees the grenade, the next he jumps on it. He knew that explosion from this thing could kill many people. No matter that, this people looking down at him, bullying him, and beating him, he just couldn't let them die. All of them have family and friends back home. Nobody deserves death. He awaits the explosion, counts seconds before his death. However, nothing is happening. It was a dummy grenade. All clear. Back in formation, explains officer, relieving everybody. Hey, soldiers, called Peggy, getting their attention. You should be ashamed of yourself. This kid have more guts and courage than all of you together. Pathetic. Izuku is beams at her words. He is happy that the grenade is a dummy. He then looks at the duo of Doctor and Colonel and asks the question that everybody want to ask. Is this a test? Asked Midoriya, already knowing an answer. Erskine looks at Phillips as to confirm his point about choosing Izuku. Abraham is pleased not also by proving his choice of a person, but also by proving to Chester that his choice not only a bully, but also a coward. He's still skinny, the only thing, said Colonel, grumping. Dr. Erskine looks at Izuku, showing him only a smile. This smile shows not only that it was a test, which he passed, it also means that he won. Between all soldiers, he is chosen to be a first one. Izuku could only smile and answer. It means that he finally won, and he would be the first super soldier who will protect people. Chapter 7. The Past of the Akaguro. After the stunt with Grenade, Izuku's day went uneventful. His achievement today earned respect of every person in the camp. They still are staring at him, but not in disgust and pity, but in bewilderment and admiration. Later that night, Midoriya sits on his bunk reading the book and thinks about tomorrow. May I? Asked Dr. Erskine, who just knocked on the door. Yeah, of course. You can, answered Izuku, letting the doctor inside. Can't sleep? Asked Erskine, putting on the table bottle of schnapps and 2 glasses with him. I got the jitters, I guess, joked Midoriya. Me too, he said, laughing at this joke. Everybody talks about your stunt with Grenade. They're still in shock. Can you answer my question? Why did you do it? You could die. I know I could. But in all honesty, I don't know, answered Izuku. It's just the second I saw a Grenade, my body was moving by its own, and the next second I am on top of it. Good answer, said Abraham. Can I too ask you a question? Asked Midoriya. Just one. Already predicted his question, asked Doctor. Why me? Asked Izuku. It's not that I am ungrateful to you. Believe me, I am not. It's just there are so many people in this world. Who is bigger, stronger, older, much better than me. And I think that I cheated and take place of someone who earned and deserved it. You know, every time we talk, I think that you are a more perfect candidate than before, answered Dr. Erskine, pleased with his chosen. And I suppose that is the only question that matters. This is from Augsburg, my city. So many people forget that the first country that the Nazis invaded was their own. You know, after the last where my people struggled, they felt weak. They felt small. And then Hitler comes along with the marching and the big show and the flags and he hears of me, my work, and he finds me. And he says, you will make us strong. Well, I am not interested. So he sends the head of HYDRA, his research division, a brilliant scientist by the name of Kaizomi Akaguro. He is actually from Japan, just like you. He is also a fierce swordsman who fights till the death. Now, Akaguro is a member of the inner circle, and he's ambitious and sadistic. He and Hitler share a passion for occult power and Teutonic myth. Hitler uses his fantasies to inspire his followers. But for Akaguro, it is not fantasy. For him, it is real. He has become convinced that there is a great power hidden in the earth, left here by the gods, waiting to be seized by a superior man. So when he hears about my formula and what it can do, he cannot resist. Akaguro must become that superior man. Izuku is sitting in the place, shocked by the horrors that his country were living. In addition, this Kaizomi Akaguro terrifies him by his actions. Also, he is afraid about what the serum change in him. Did it make him strong? Did it make him worse? Will it make him bad? Did it make him stronger? Asked Midoriya. Yeah, but there were other effects, explained Doctor. The serum was not ready. But more important, the man. The serum amplifies everything that is inside. So, good becomes great. Bad becomes worse. If before he was enjoying thrill of the fight, then right now he likes to taste the blood of his opponents and victims. This is why you were chosen. Because a strong man who has known power all his life will lose respect for that power. But a weak man knows the value of strength and knows compassion. His explanation made Izuku happy. He always thought that his weaknesses would limit his life forever. But right now he knows that he is chosen because of his good heart and compassion, not because of pity. Thanks. I very appreciate it, said Izuku. Whatever happens tomorrow, you must promise me one thing, Erskine said, pouring 2 drinks. That you will stay who you are, not a perfect soldier, but a good man. I promise you, I will stay as a good man, said Midoriya. It's the first time he's called a man. This doctor made his dream come true. He will not let him down. He wouldn't break this promise. To the little dreamers. Just as Izuku is about to drink from his glass, Abraham remembers very important detail. No, wait, what I am doing. No, you have a procedure tomorrow. No fluids, explained Dr. Erskine hastily. He then pours the contents of Izuku's glass into his own. All right, we'll drink it after, said Midoriya. No, I don't have procedure tomorrow. Drink it after? Drink it now, said Abraham before drinking an entire glass. What? This drink is delicious. After Erskine left the cabin, Izuku sits on the bed and thinks about tomorrow. He is more determined than ever. He will become a super soldier. He will make Dr. Erskine proud. One thing for sure, the next day will change everything. Meanwhile, at the same time in Hydra headquarters, Moya Kirojiri walks in the Akaguro's lab to talk about his late actions. The first thing Kirojiri sees, putting him in stupor. He sees that Kaizome is posing for something with his katana unsheathed, standing near the big window. Seeing his colleague, he turns off the light and answers him, "Is there something in particular you need?" Moya looks to the side and sees an artist is painting Akaguro's portrait in oil. How did he bring this man here? In the cave? In Alps? He thought. I understand you find him. Deduced knows that Kaizome understood which man he is talking about and knows his disapproval. See for yourself, answered Akaguro, pointing at the table, which shows several surveillance photos of Dr. Erskine. You disapprove. He knows that Moya doesn't see any danger in the doctor. However, Kaizome knows better. He is a product of his experiment. I just don't see why you need concern yourself. I can't imagine he will succeed, answered Kirojiri. He still don't understand a point about this doctor. Maybe he have some serum to made a superior human. It doesn't mean that every person can survive it. This procedure only worked once. At his words, Kaizome looks at him, a predator, feeling insulted. Moya only could say a weak word, again. His serum is the Allies' only defense against this power we now possess. We don't know that his next candidate will survive or not. We can't be sure that serum wouldn't work. We can't give them such opportunity. If we take it away from them, then our victory is assured, explained Akaguro. Shall I give the order? Asked Moya, finally seeing the danger in the doctor. It has been given, simply answered Kaizome. Good, said Kirojiri before leaving the room. Dr. Kirojiri. Akaguro stopped Moya before he turns on the lights, showing the scared doctor his true self. The sight of the evil man makes him speechless. What do you think? Knowing that his life in line, he says the only word that would save him. A masterpiece, he said, relieving that he finally leaves the lab. Kaizome didn't hear much of Moya's answer. He continues to pose and thinks about tomorrow. Soon his last obstacle will be dead. The Allies will lose their only fighting chance to win. And he will win and change the world how he sees it in his perfect image. One thing for sure, the next day will change everything. Chapter 8. The First Super Soldier. The day has come. The day when USA Army will have the first super soldier. The day in which Izuku Midoriya will become a hero. This morning a car drove up to the camp and drive Izuku and Peggy to the Dr. Erskine's secret lab for the experiment. The ride was quiet. Both sides are silent. After Midoriya learnt the truth about Agent Shield, he decides to start talk with her. Unfortunately, he can't choose an idea about what to talk. Passing by his street, Izuku finally found a topic for conversation. Brooklyn. However, his knowledge about this street is not so enjoyable. I know this neighborhood. I got beat up in that alley, said Izuku, pointing at the places. In that parking lot, and behind that diner. Did you have something against running away? She asked curiously. They were hurting children. Who is younger than me? He explained. And you start running, they'll never let you stop. You stand up, push back. Can't say no forever, right? I know a little of what that's like. To have every door shut in your face, Peggy said, sadly remembering people who were looking down at her because she is a woman. I guess I just don't why you'd want to join the army if you're a beautiful dame, said Izuku. After realizing what he said, he starts to blush and mumbling. Or a woman. An agent, not a dame. You are beautiful, but... For Shield, all this made him look adorable to her. She always thought that Midoriya is plain looking at first glance, but in truth, he is kind of cute. You have no idea how to talk to a woman, do you? Asked Peggy, giggling at him. This is the longest conversation I've had with one. Girls aren't exactly lining up to dance with a guy they might step on, or a guy who can't tell them 2 words before fainting, sighed Izuku. You must have danced? She asked. Well, asking a girl to dance always seems so terrifying. I would prefer a punch to the face than women. In the past year, just didn't seem to matter that much. Figured I'd wait, he explained. For what? Peggy asked curiously. The right partner, Izuku answered. I long ago decide for myself. If I ever find a girl who will love me despite my condition, then I will never betray her trust or cheat on her. Oh, didn't expect this answer. Man who would not betray his woman no matter what. Such loyalty is so rare. I am already jealous of your future girl, she commented. At her words, car stops near an antique shop and both of them get out of it. Midoriya looks around in confusion. He knows every place in his street and couldn't understood what had they forgot in this place. This way, said Peggy walking with him to the antique shop. What we're doing here? Asked Izuku alarmed. Just trust and follow me, explained Agent Shield entering the shop. But that didn't close his question. What had they forgot in this old antique shop? The antique shop is actually not so bad, just pretty old and empty. Nothing were bought in this place for 5 years. The pair are greeted by elder store owner. She is smiling at them. However, Peggy knows better. Wonderful weather this morning, isn't it? Asked owner. Yes, but I always carry an umbrella, answered Peggy. Her answer puts Izuku in bewilderment. What is the weather in this place? He thought. After the dialogue, woman's expression becomes serious and she departs to the table. Under the table is a small button, which she is pushing right now. The pair goes to the next room, which is library. Suddenly, bookcases opens up showing long corridor. Izuku looks astonished. He can't believe that under this shop is hidden military base. However, he couldn't give it a such thought as Peggy goes ahead. Izuku just runs after her. Watching around, he was met by many soldiers who looks at him in disbelief, as if asking what the kid forgot here. But he doesn't pay them any attention because they came to the lab. The lab is a big circular room filled with many machineries. However, the most notable of them is the one in the canter, which looked like a pod. In the center of the room is also Dr. Erskine and his team. Upon seeing Izuku, Abraham comes to him and greets him by shaking his hand. Good morning. A flash ruined the moment. Literally, because of the real photographer. It's revealed that this experiment will be written in newspaper. Seeing the doctor's annoying face, man decides to leave. After the photographer walks away, Erskine looks at Izuku, who looks at the pod in wonder. Are you ready? He asked, trying to see if his chosen didn't decide to back down. He knows that Midoriya will never quit. However, he's still afraid about what will happen to him. He doesn't know if Izuku could survive the transformation or not. He doesn't want him to die. He wouldn't forgive himself. Nevertheless, Izuku nods, saying yes. Good. Take off your shirt, your tie, and your hat, he instructed. Izuku does it without a single thought. He knows it's too late to back down. Meanwhile, in the adjacent observation chamber, which is filled with officials, people waiting to the start of the experiment. One of these people is Senator Brandt. He is a member of U.S. Senate who has also funded this project. He wants to see the results of his spent money. Senator Brandt, glad you could make it, greeted Colonel. Remind me, why exactly am I in Brooklyn? Asked Senator in confusion. He is not pleased that he in so greased place. We needed access to the city's power grid, asked Phillips, not happy to see him either. More than Midoriya. Of course, if you'd given me the generators I requisitioned. A lot of people are asking for funds, Colonel, interrupted Brandt. He was growing tired that everybody was asking him money. He looks around the company, trying to find another interlocutor. Oh, this is Fred Clemson, State Department. Introduced himself. Fred, if this project of yours comes through, we'd like to see it used for something other than headlines. Jesus, somebody get that pathetic child a sandwich, said Brandt, looking down at Izuku, already regretting funding this project. At any other day, Phillips would agree about that. Erskine's choice of person is awful. However, after seeing his bravado with Grenade, Colonel starts to see him at the new light. Phillips still thinks that army is not place for a kid, but he knows that kid have more guts at his side. Yes, I agree that this place is not for him. However, this kid have more guts than some grown men, defended Chester, looking at the senator. Brandt decides to walk away. Colonel Phillips stands in the place thinking about the project and Izuku. If the results will be positive, then USA will have the soldiers which will win the war. And kid will be sent back home alive and safe. If the results will be opposite, then they will lose the kid. No matter how he didn't like this one, he wouldn't never want to see him dead. What anybody didn't notice that Fred's smirk grow more sinister. Nobody felt that his intentions are bad. His actions will change everything. In the chamber, Izuku has climbed into the pod, which is 2 sizes bigger than he is, and lain down awaiting for procedure. He knows that he can trust Doctor with his life, but he is also afraid if he would stay alive or not. Hearing his praise, Dr. Erskine comes to him to talk. Comfortable, he asked. It's a little big, Izuku answered. You saved me any of that schnapps? Not as much as I should have. Sorry. Maybe some years later, Abraham answered. Also, thee is a person I want you to meet, Ms. Bakugo. Can you come here? Coming, she answered. It was now that finally noticed her. She is not wearing her dress from the expo. She is now wearing her clothes for a work. But that didn't make her less pretty. It's made her real. Hello. You're the soldier kid, right? Don't worry about machine suddenly blowing up. Why create something then it should do what it is supposed to do? You will be all right. Thank you for your words, Mitsuki. She is also from Japan, just like you, explained Doctor. Also, how are your levels? My level's always at fucking 100%, she sweared. It surprised to Izuku, as long as he knows that women are never swearing. Well, they didn't know Mitsuki Bakugo. Good, he said, not caring about her swearing at all. We may dim half the lights in Brooklyn, but we are ready as we'll ever be, Mitsuki commented. Agent Shield, don't you think you would be more comfortable in a booth? Dr. Erskine asked her. He suspected that there is something between Izuku and Peggy, and by seeing her expression, he understood that he is right. Oh yes, of course. Sorry, she said nervously. Walking to the booth, she last time looked at Midoriya and mouthed to him, everything will be all right. Good, Erskine said, taking a microphone and tapping it. Do you hear me? Is this on? He asked. Ladies and gentlemen, today we take not another step towards annihilation, but the first step on the path to peace. We begin with a series of micro-injections into the subject's major muscle groups. The serum infusion will cause immediate cellular change, and then to stimulate growth, the subject will be saturated with Vita rays. When Abraham was talking about his project, Izuku was feeling that something is injected in him. It actually tickles. That wasn't so bad. That was penicillin, Doctor answered, frightened the kid. Serum infusion beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. At the end of the count, serum is slowly injected into Izuku. He feels the pain of it before it suddenly stops. Now, Ms. Bakugo. At his command, Mitsuki lowers a lever, activating machine. The pod moves upright and encloses Midoriya inside. Fearing for his chosen status, Erskine knocks on the capsule to check that Izuku is comfortable. Izuku, can you hear me? It's probably too late to go to the bathroom, right? Asked Midoriya. We will proceed, said Doctor. Everybody is watched with bated breath. The procedure began. Managing the controls, Bakugo increases the power of her machine. That's 10%, 20%, 30%, that's 40%. Izuku never felt so much pain before in his entire life. The pain slowly tearing him apart from the inside. However, he couldn't let himself to scream. He couldn't let the project end now. Vital signs are normal, said SSR Doctor. That's 50%, 60, 70-inch, said Mitsuki, continuing to increase the power of her machine. Unfortunately, Midoriya couldn't hold any longer and let out the scream that alarmed every person in the lab. Izuku, screamed Abraham, fearing for him. Shut it down, commanded Peggy, terrifying for Izuku. Izuku, bellowed Erskine, knocking on the glass, hoping that Izuku will answer. Shut it down, once more commanded Agent Shield. She couldn't hold it much longer. She couldn't live knowing that he died. Kill the reactor, Mitsuki. Turn it off. Kill it. Kill the reactor, bellowed Erskine. He couldn't let it to continue. He wouldn't take young kids' life only to win stupid war. However, Izuku heard every word they said. No, no, they can't stop now. He can't let all of them down. Dr. Erskine didn't give on him when everybody did. And he's not going to give up now. It's 70%. It's almost over. He can endure it longer. No, don't. We can't give up. It's almost over. I can do this, screamed Izuku, who still feels pain. 80, 90, that's 100%, said Bakugo, reluctantly, continuing to increase her machine to maximum. At 100%, everything in the room starts overloads and blow up until the reactor closes itself down. Seeing that process is over, everybody is staring at the pod in worry. The last-minute kid was screaming in the pain, and now nothing. Not even a sound. Everyone starts to prepare for the worst. Mitsuki asked Erskine in despair before answering the question that every person in this room had. Is he alive? This question answered by Pod, which now is opening up. Everyone coming closely to see if kid alive or not. But what they see made them astonished. Izuku is okay. He is more than okay. He is still skinny, but after the procedure, he gained an array of toned muscle on arms and on chest. His skin color changed from pale white to healthy peach. He also become at least on one head taller. It means one thing. The serum worked. Izuku become the first super soldier. Everybody starts to clap the hands for the success. Izuku, Izuku, said Erskine, shaking Midoriya to wake him up. The son of a bitch did it. Good job, kid, said Phillips proudly of Izuku. He amazed by the results. If the serum worked on him, then it means it will work at every soldier. USA will win this war. And kid can go back home. Even if he is changed, Chester couldn't let the kid kill himself on the war. As everyone pours out of the observation chamber, Clemson leaves a small metal object like a cigarette case behind. He didn't like that the serum worked on kid. If he changed so much by it, then what it will do on the grown-up men. He failed to stop birth of first super soldier, but he can stop them from making more super soldiers. As Izuku stumbles out of the pod, he's supported by Bakugo and Erskine. He looks around himself, checking out all differences the serum made. I did it. I can't believe I did it. Yeah, I think we did it, chuckled Erskine at his shock. Of course we actually did it. This was made by Bakugo Industries, boasted Mitsuki, very pleased by results. I told you if something was built by Bakugo Industries, then it will work. At her laugh, Peggy comes to the trio. She looks relieved, not also because the serum worked, but also because Izuku is alive. She also couldn't help but to stare at his changes. How do you feel? She asked. Taller. Different, answered Izuku. You look taller, said Peggy before giving him a shirt to cover himself. He is taller than her by half head, but you are the same as before. How do you like Brooklyn now, Senator? Smirked Chester, feeling proud for a project. I can think of some folks in Berlin who are about to get very nervous, boasted Brandt. He already thinks that USA will be the strongest after seeing the results. What he didn't notice that Fred is staring at Dr. Erskine like predator at prey, playing with device, which looked like a lighter. Congratulates, Doctor. Thank you, sir, said Abraham before he caught Fred looking at him. Erskine recognized who was man. He working for them. However, before Erskine could acknowledge everyone about enemy's presence, Fred activates his lighter, which detonates the bomb in the observation room. He then uses the confusion and panic to steal the last vial of the serum. Stop him. He stole the last vial of serum. Erskine bellowed. He couldn't let him take serum. He couldn't let them moor him. Unfortunately, that was a perfect moment for a shoot. Fred shoots him in the chest twice, fatally wounded him. He only had seconds before he dies. In the rage, Peggy chases after him to avenge the good man. She shoots him in answer as he continues to kill everybody on his path before closing the main gates. For someone, the shot was too fast, but for Izuku, it was almost forever. He couldn't believe that someone would kill a good person such as Dr. Erskine. He can't die. He can't. This person was the first who could see potential in his weak body. Abraham was the first who truly believed in him. Midoriya still needs him. The world needs him. Izuku kneels beside Erskine, hoping that he can be saved. But he knows that this is a lie. He can't be saved. In his last moments, Dr. Erskine points his finger at Izuku's chest before finally closing his eyes. It happened. Dr. Abraham Erskine died. Izuku understood what doctor means in his last moments. He reminded him about their last talk yesterday. Whatever happens tomorrow, you must promise me one thing, that you will stay who you are. Not a perfect soldier, but a good man. How will he thought? No matter what happens, he will stay as who he is. A good man. That's a promise he will never break. For Dr. Erskine, Chapter 9. Hail, HYDRA. It's over. The old doctor is dead. There will be no more superhumans. And this kid is no danger to hydroplans at all. He grabbed the last bunch of serum. Now the only thing that Fred Clemson or Heinz Kruger needs is to disappear. That has easily said than done because an entire room are shooting at him. Fortunately, he is able to shoot them back, except that persistent blonde woman. After escaping the base, Kruger enters the car to ride away while firing at the enemies with machine gun, killing them. He then sits in the seat trying to nurse his bloody shoulder. However, Peggy is still on his tail with objective to stop him, and before she can shoot his transport, Heinz activates the detonator and blows up the car near her. Nevertheless, that didn't stop her at slightest. She aims at the car and shoots at it, getting to the driver's head, killing him. Without the driver, the car crashes into a taxi. This makes Kruger to change cars. "What are you doing? Buddy, are you all right?" "Hey, this guy's been shot," exclaimed taxi driver, exiting the cab, letting Heinz enter the cab. Kruger drives off in the taxi. However, he decides that the first thing he's going to do is send this stubborn woman straight to hell, and drives towards Peggy. However, she's not going to let this killer push herself around like a little girl. She will fight until the end. She continuously shoots at him, but he just ducks and keeps going in order to kill her. Fortunately, at the last moment, Izuku shoves her out of the harm way. Heinz used this opportunity to drive away to pier, far away from this madness. "Why did you do it?" she asked displeasingly. "Almost had him." "I just can't let him kill you," explained Izuku. "But don't worry, I think I can catch him." "Thank you," said Peggy. "But how are you going to do it? He may be already halfway away from here. How are you going to catch him?" "Run after him." "Don't worry about it," he answered. "Do you know why?" "Because I am here." At these words, Izuku runs after the car, leaving her with gaping mouth. She couldn't believe that a former shy and cute boy who couldn't say a word to her became not only the strong man, but also talking with her with a commanding tone. However, Peggy couldn't help but acknowledge that when he said, "Because I am here," she felt calmness, warmness, and trust in him that he can do it. Agent S.H.I.E.L.D. now believes that Izuku Midoriya can do anything. The first thing Izuku acknowledges while chasing the car that he can run fast. Also, his lungs doesn't burn like always. In addition, he didn't feel any tiredness. He now runs faster than he ever was before. He decides to cut his way short to get closer to the car. Unfortunately, while chasing the car, he loses control over his new power and crashes into a bridalware store. "I'm sorry," he quickly apologized, not used to his strength and speed, before continuing to chase the car. Izuku then decides to cut his way again by running to the dark alley. However, he sees that on his way is a metal wall, but that didn't make him to slow down. Midoriya then does something that surprises even himself. He leaps over the wall and continues to run. Izuku then runs out into a street full of cars. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," said Midoriya to the driver, which almost run him over. Seeing that the cab is too far, Izuku decides to do something reckless. He jumps on the roof of a nearby car and then jumps from one to the next one, until he finally lands on the killer's car. "Stubborn brat," swears Kruger. He can't believe that this child finally got him. While making hard turns on the road to make Izuku fall, he shoots at the roof with an objective to kill this annoying kid. However, he still hangs on the roof and don't planning to let go. They almost came to the pier. Unfortunately, because of Kruger's decision to kill the boy, he hadn't noticed that upcoming track, which he accidentally crushes. Unexpected of the crush makes Izuku let go of the car and fell on the ground, watching the cab tumbles on the pier, dropping the front door in the process. When Heinz exits the broken cab, he has become infuriated than ever. If the kid before just only annoyed him with his presence, right now, he's just feeling only rage. He is not going to let this kid live even a second. He don't care that this person only a child. He will kill him at this moment. He is too dangerous for Kaizome's plans. Kruger shoots at Izuku with his gun. However, on the last second, Midoriya grabs the cab's door and uses it as shield against bullets. This enraged Heinz more than before. He then makes a decision. If this kid wants to play a hero, he then will be his villain. And what need a bad guy in desperate situation like this? A hostage. And what is better than a child hostage? No, no, not my son, exclaimed the mother of the boy, which was grabbed by Kruger to use as a living shield. Stop it, screamed the young boy terrifyingly for his life. Don't hurt him, pleaded the poor mother, which is trying to get to his son, but bystanders hold her to stop. Izuku sees the problem and runs to save a child, dropping the car's door in the process. This man is coward, taking an innocent boy as hostage. He decides to attack him. However, Kruger spots him. Get back, he bellowed desperately before shooting at Midoriya, but misses his target and running away. Let me go, screamed boy afraid for his life. Let go of my son. Don't hurt him, exclaimed the poor mother trying to get to his son. Seeing this woman in that state reminds Izuku of his deceased, loving mother who always made sure that her son is happy and all right. This made him more determinative than before. He will not let the child and mother to split up. He will save this kid, no matter what. He quietly goes after him, but Kruger sees him again and shoots at Izuku. Fortunately, Midoriya hides behind a statue, which blocks the bullet. He then enters passageway after Hines. After getting there, Kruger turns around and points a gun at the boy's head. Wait, don't, said Izuku, alarmed for a hostage live. Kruger only smirks in triumph before he points the gun at Midoriya and pulls the trigger. However, after the first click, it's revealed that Hines used all his bullets in the base and at the car chase. It's made him more mad. He instead, in a desperate manner, throws the boy into the water. No, don't, screamed Izuku in fright, running to Edge to see if the boy is alive. Fortunately, it's revealed that a boy can swim, and he is swimming in the water before encouraging this person who was trying to save him before, go get him, hero, I can swim. At the boy's words, Izuku again chases after the man. Finally getting away from the super kid, Kruger activates his lighter, which makes the strange transport appear out of the water. He sits in the cockpit of the vehicle and dives in the waters. Seeing Hines diving under the water in this machine puts Izuku in bewilderment. He never in his life ever heard about a vehicle like this. It's surfaced out of the water and then submerged under the water. Just some kind of submarine or something, but there's no time for guessing. He needs to act right now, or else the killer will swim away. He didn't know if his lungs could hold a breath for such long. However, he hadn't cared about any of that. Midoriya just jumps and dives after him. After what was felt like eternity, Izuku finally catches to the machine and grabs the antenna on the roof. Hines, hearing some sounds, turns to the left only to become astonished. He sees his pursuer in the water, who finally get to his submarine. However, he couldn't get much of thought before Midoriya breaks the glass, making the entire cockpit to flood. Fortunately for him, Izuku opens the glass and takes him before throwing him out of the water. Kruger is glad that he's finally on the surface without water in his lungs. Unfortunately, he couldn't rest much as he wanted as Izuku jumps from the water. Hines in despair attacks Midoriya, but he dodges it and kicks him, making him drop a vial with serum, breaking it. He was a good man, screamed Izuku, taking him by his coat. He didn't want anything bad to anybody. Why? Why did you kill him? I don't care if he was a good or bad man, answered Kruger. I killed him because his serum was danger to our cause. What cause? Who the hell are you? Asked Midoriya. Hines is not an idiot. He knows that he done. After this stunt, allies will interrogate him and they will know everything. He couldn't let them know it. He will take these secrets to the grave. The first of many, he answered, popping a fake tooth loose and swallowing it. Cut off one head, 2 more shall take its place. Then Hines suddenly starts to foam at the mouth. Izuku just now understood what he just swallowed. Pills that kills at 5 seconds. Hail HYDRA. This was his last words before closing his own eyes. That made Izuku to put down the dead man. He still couldn't believe what just happened. He chased after the car, jumped over the wall, picked up door from a cab, dived in the water, and held his breath for 4 minutes. He did things that his old body wouldn't even dream of. It means that serum is working. It changed him not only on the surface, but it changed his capabilities either. However, that couldn't prevent him from saving Erskine's life. Dr. Erskine is dead, and he couldn't save him. His project is complete. Unfortunately, Dr. Erskine couldn't see the results of his work. However, the last words of the killer put a question in Izuku's head. He couldn't help but wonder. What is HYDRA? Alps Hydra HQ. Kaizome is pleased with last news. Yes, maybe Kruger failed to bring him a serum, but he made sure that wouldn't be any more of it by killing Dr. Erskine. The last obstacle on his path are dead. Unfortunately, Hitler learned about his actions and sent on the Hydra base his soldier to examine this facility. Right now, they're annoying Akaguro by berating him like a small child. He uses all of his willpower to stop himself from killing all of them right now for their insolence while showing them around his base. The Führer is not accustomed to being ignored, Herr Akaguro, said Hutter, one of 3 men Hitler sent. He funds your research because you promised him weapons. You serve at his pleasure. He gave you this facility as a reward for your injuries, said Schneider II, one of the sent people. Reward? Call it what it is. Exile, said Kaizome in disgust, remembering well his exile by Hitler. I no longer reflect his image of Aryan perfection. You think this is about appearances? Your HYDRA division has failed to deliver so much as a rifle in over a year, continued Rotor, the last one mockingly looking at the Hydra symbol on the flag and its strange uniform of soldiers. And we had learned through local intelligence you had mounted a full-scale incursion into Norway. The Führer feels, how's he put it? The Red Skull has been indulged long enough, quoted Schneider displeasingly. For Kaizome, it was a last straw. He wouldn't let these blind troglodytes to dictate him how to fight in the war. He could kill them right now. He don't need Nazis anymore. He have infinite power source, weapons to destroy the armies. The only man who could stop him is dead. He was in their shadow long enough. Time to end it. However, before he could bring his sword, a thought have crossed his head. These 3 told him that Hydra failed to invent new weapons. Well, he will show them his work results. They will die at any other rate. Gentlemen, you have come to see the results of our work, Kaizome said, smiling sinisterly. Let me show you. When they enters the lab, Akaguro continues. Hitler speaks of a 1,000-year Reich, but he cannot feed his army for a month. His troops spill their blood across every field in Europe, but still he is no closer to achieving his goals. And I suppose you still aim to end this war through magic? Asked Rotor in mocking disbelief. They were also sent to check on Kaizome himself, and they already put diagnosis on him. It's science, but I understand your confusion. Great power has always baffled primitive man, mocked Kaizome, looking at them when he said the last part. Hydra is assembling an arsenal to destroy my enemies in one stroke, wherever they are, regardless of how many forces they possess, all in a matter of hours. Your enemies? Asked Rotor in confusion. My weapons contain enough destructive power to decimate every hostile capital on Earth, explained Kaizome before relieving them the final part. He will show these 3 its real place. Quite simply, gentlemen, I have harnessed the power of the gods. If they had any doubts before then, they're confirmed right now. It's no mistake about this man. Hitler is right. Kaizome Akaguro is an insane madman and sadist who believes that he is God. Well, now he can say goodbye to his crazy plans. He will be arrested. Thank you, Akaguro, said Schneider. For what? Asked Kaizome, already knowing their answer. They think that he is mad, but he is far from it. They just is stupid to understood. For making it clear how obviously mad you are, answered Schneider, already thinking which asylum he would spend his life. Meanwhile, when everybody were discussing plans, Hutter decides to study a map lying on Akaguro's labor. He sees that many tacks on the map, which shows cities of the alias. However, he also noticed that one tack is located on the Berlin, one of their own city. It means that Kaizome plans to betray them and attack them. Berlin is on this map. Hutter announced his found. So, it is simply confirmed Akaguro. He didn't see anything wrong with that. They wouldn't left this base alive. Time to show them how he tamed the power of gods. You will be punished for your insolence. You will be brought before the Führer himself, bellowed Hutter. Unfortunately, it is his last words as Kaizome uses his new cannon, which powered by essence of the Tesseract, and disintegrates him. Schneider tries to defend himself by shooting at Kaizome. However, it's futile as Akaguro continues to shoot and disintegrates him to dust. Rotor tries to escape the base and alerted Hitler about the madman's genocide. Unfortunately, the only exit in the lab is sealed shut. He can't get out. Akaguro, bellowed Rotor as Kaizome pointed cannon at him and disintegrated him. Dr. Kirojiri witnessed this entire massacre. He couldn't imagine that his weapons would work like that, destroying people, leaving nothing, not even pile of ashes. And Kaizome just killed all of them in a cold blood. He freezes on the spot as Akaguro looked at him. My apologies, Doctor, but we both knew Hydra could grow no further in Hitler's shadow, Kaizome announced. He finally will left this miserable shadow. He will stand at the top of the world, which he recreates as he sees it himself. Hail, HYDRA! Hail, HYDRA! Said Hydra technicians raising both arms to salute. Seeing this performance made Moya understand that he chose to follow the wrong man. In addition, the wrong side. However, he couldn't turn back on them, or else they will kill him. He's stuck in this place as a slave. Hail, HYDRA! Squeaked Kirojiri as Kaizome looks at him before leaving the lab. Chapter 10. America's New Hope. The SSR compound. After the leaving the pier, Izuku got back to the base and explained them everything what has happened. They then sent him to medical office to give him a sample of his blood in a hope to reproduce a serum. Right now, he and Agent Shield sits in medical room giving the nurses Izuku's blood. Think you got enough? He asked, referring to the amount of blood samples taken from him. Any hope of reproducing a program is locked in your genetic code. But without Dr. Erskine, it could take years, Peggy answered, solemnly remembering Doctor's death and grief. He deserved more than this, Izuku commented. This man was a good person. He was the first person who believed in him and his potential. He was almost like a father to Midoriya. If it could only work once, he'd be proud it was you, she encouraged him. Peggy is actually one of the people who believes in Izuku. He showed it to her today. She now totally understood why Erskine chose him. SSR Tech Lab. Meanwhile, Brandt and Phillips discussed the last events. And Mitsuki is disassembling the strange machine, which Izuku named as Submarine because of its functions. Nobody agreed to call this vehicle like that because its designation was made by a kid. However, Bakugo didn't care about Izuku's age. Its designation is pretty much fitting. Colonel Phillips, my committee is demanding answers, demanded Senator. Great. Why don't we start with how a German spy got a ride to my secret installation in your car? Phillips asked sarcastically. He'd grown tired of company of this person. He then looks at Bakugo, who is working on this diving ship. What have we got here? Speaking modestly, I'm the best mechanical engineer in this country. But I don't know what's inside this submarine or how it works, she answered. You still uses the name which was given by a kid, mocked Brandt. I don't care if its designation was given by a kid or even a baby when it's fitting it perfectly, Mitsuki said sharply. This thing can surface out of the water, swim, and submerge under the water. Nobody can't give it any better name than that. For a young and delicate lady, you have a sharp tongue, commented Senator. Well, first of all, I work with grease, dangerous machines, and explosions. I am not a delicate lady, Mitsuki answered in disgust. She hates that some men looking down at her because of her age and gender. And the second, I didn't even try. I can say worst. But the most important thing is that we're not even close to this technology. Then who is? Asked Brandt, addressing an entire lab. Hydra. I'm sure you've been reading our briefings, answered Phillips sarcastically. I'm on a number of committees, Colonel, argued Senator. Hydra is the Nazi Deep Science Division, explained Peggy as she and Izuku enters the room. It's led by Kaizome Akaguro, but he has much bigger ambitions. Hydra is practically a cult. They worship Akaguro. They think he's invincible, continued Colonel. So what are you going to do about it? Asked Senator. Spoke to the president this morning. As of today, the SSR is being retasked, explained Chester. Colonel, asked Peggy in confusion. We are taking the fight to HYDRA, clarified Chester. Pack your bags, Agent Shield. You too, Bakugo. You're flying to London tonight. Sir, if you're going after Akaguro, I want in, said Izuku eagerly. He wouldn't let Kaizome's plan to succeed. You're an experiment. You're going to Alamogordo, said Phillips. The serum worked, tried to argue Izuku. After the scientist's work will be done, you can go back home, continued Phillips as if he hadn't even heard him. Why, I can't go fight, bellowed Izuku. He never raised his voice at anybody, but he couldn't hold much longer. He finally had strength to be a soldier. Moreover, they want to send him back home like a kid. He will fight. The serum worked. You saw the results. I become bigger, stronger, faster. I can catch up to the car, jump over the walls, hold my breath for 10 minutes, and pick up a car door easily. I could be a soldier. So tell me, Colonel, why I can't go fight HYDRA? His outburst put everyone on the lab in shock. Even Mitsuki and Peggy. They couldn't believe that normally quiet and shy teen just screamed at the Colonel Phillips. This kid have a dead wish, thought the entire lab. However, Colonel Phillips cannot be so easily intimidated. All this time he pitted Izuku. He hadn't wanted to break his world, but now this kid gone afar. Well, if he wants answers, then he will gladly get them. I can tell you 10 reasons why. However, I will say only 3-inch, said Chester, slowly walking to Midoriya. With each step, Izuku's courage are losing. The first one is I asked for an army, and all I got was you. You are not enough. Suddenly, he punches Izuku in the gut, making him stumble. In return, Midoriya tries to punch him. However, Colonel Phillips surprises everybody by catching the attacking fist easily. The second one is because of your adolescent age. The serum works in not full potential. If you were at least 25 years old, then you would have the full strength. The more your body grows, the more serum progresses. Right now, you could be better than average man, but against an experienced fighter you are a huge disadvantage, he explained, letting his hand go. And the final reason, because this person is you, Chester continued, saying the last part directly at Izuku. The young kid who wants to play a soldier. You didn't even know what it takes to be a real soldier. When you joins an army, your life no longer belongs to you. You're too young for a war. I agreed to let you be the tester, only hoping that, after you, there will be more super soldiers, and then you'll be back home. Far from this madness. I have nothing against you, kid, but I couldn't forgive myself if you die. You have guts and courage, but these things can't protect from death. Just seek my advice. Go back home and do what you teenagers doing best. Enjoy your life. It's short, you know. After his speech, Phillips exits the room, leaving Izuku alone with his thoughts. No matter how he was trying to deny Colonel's words, he couldn't help but agree with him. He is really too young for war. However, to be a lab rat is not the good perspective. He couldn't believe that it will be his only choice. He would do anything for a second chance. At the same time, Senator was observing Izuku. Unlike the others, he sees in Midoriya an opportunity to use. Brant already had ideas to benefit both an army and himself by using him. In addition, the state in which Colonel left him would make a team to cooperate easily. With all due respect to the Colonel, I think we may be missing the point. I've seen you in action, Izuku. More importantly, the country's seen it. Paper, he said the last part to his aide, who shows them the newspaper with headlines, Nazis in New York, Mystery Man saves child, which also shows a big picture of Izuku in the pier holding a cab door. The enlistment lines have been around the block since your picture hit the newsstands. You don't take a soldier, a symbol like that, and hide him in a lab. Son, do you want to serve your country on the most important battlefield of the war? Sir, that's all I ever wanted in my life, answered Izuku happily. Then, congratulations. You just got promoted, said Brant. For Izuku, it's like a breath of fresh air. He thought that his next home would be a lab. But Senator gave him a second chance, and he is not going to let him down. It sounds perfect. Unfortunately, we don't live in perfect world. New Jersey, Theater. It's true. We don't live in perfect world. It's appear as Brant and Izuku have different understanding on the phrase. Serve your country on the most important battlefield of the war. It means that Izuku must tour the nation for the USO to promote war donations, using his image as the young, strong, ideal soldier as a symbol for the public to rally behind. Right now, he sits in backstage after getting dressed in his new superhero costume. He wears blue, red, and white suit, which consists of blue trousers, big short with blue shoulders, white sleeves, with white star on the chest with vertical red and white strips on the abdomen. He also wears red boots, red gloves, and blue helmet-like head mask, which had white on the forehead, white wings on both sides of head, and blue turtleneck. The most notable thing on his costume is heater-shaped shield painted to resemble American flag, and his name is Captain America. I don't know if I can do this, said Izuku worriedly, getting ready for his first performance. I never sing. I can't dance, and I get stage fright easily. I will fail this. Nothing to it. Sell off a few bonds by bullets, bullets kills Nazis. Bing bang boom. You're an American hero. Encourage Brant's aid, Gary. And don't worry about your stage fears. Everybody had them. Just don't think about it. Thanks. It's just not how I pictured getting there, explained Midoriya. The Senator's got a lot of pull up on the hill. You play ball with us, you'll be leading your own platoon a few years later. Take the shield, said Gary, pushing Izuku onto the stage. The second Midoriya enters the stage, an entire room applauds him. In the background, women dances in the outfits, which resembles his suit. Surrounding by so many females in skimpy costumes, made Izuku blushing hard. One woman can make him feel uneasy, but so much makes him feel like it's torture. However, he don't have time to think about it as women starts to sing. Who's strong and brave, here to save the American way? Not all of us can storm a beach or drive a tank, but there's still a way all of us can fight, said Izuku. Because of his worries, he couldn't learn the lines well. Fortunately, this shield have a place to put a words, which he reads right now. Who vows to fight like a man for what's right, night and day. Series E Defense Bonds. Each one you buy is a bullet in the barrel of your best guy's gun. Continued Midoriya to play and dance. Who will campaign door to door for America? Carry the flag shore to shore for America? From Hoboken to Spokane, the Star-Spangled Man with a plan. We can't ignore there's a threat and a war we must win. Each one you buy is a bullet in the barrel of your best guy's gun, explained Izuku. Who will hang a noose on the goose-stepping goons from Berlin? Who will redeem? Heed the call for America? Who will rise or fall? Give his all for America? Who's here to prove that we can? The Star-Spangled Man with a plan. We all know this is about trying to win the war. We can't do that without bullets and bandages, tanks and tents. That's where you come in. Every bond you buy will help protect someone you love, said Izuku to audience no longer having stage fright. Suddenly man dressed, as Hitler sneaks up on him on the stage, frightening the children. Turn around. He's right behind you, screamed them. Keep our boys armed and ready, and the Germans will think twice about trying to get the drop on us, continued Izuku as the man attacks him and gets fake punched. Do you know why? Because I am here. Stalwart and steady and true, forceful and ready to defend, the red, white, and blue. Who'll give Eaxis the sack and is smart as a fox. Far as an eagle will soar. Who's making Adolf afraid to step out of his box? He knows what we're fighting for. Who waked the giant that napped in America? We know it's no one but Captain America. Who'll finish what they began? Who'll kick the Krauts to Japan? The Star-Spangled Man with a plan. In addition, his tour continues to perform around America at many cities such as Buffalo, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Chicago, and many others. All people like this shows and bought all the tickets from Ticket Booth. However, the fame of Captain America didn't end only with performances. He then appears in comics, films, cards, posters, and other memorabilia. He gained many fans and generally becomes more liked and famous. That made Brant so pleased that they earned so much bonds. He knew that he made a right choice. In total, the American hero, Captain America, is loved by entire nation. Children dreams to be like him. The count of soldiers increases. Women swoons at him. Every urn bound goes to military for supplies, weapons, uniforms. Everyone is happy, except for one person. This person is our main actor itself. Chapter 11. Back to home. A month later. It was a month since Izuku agreed to Brand's chance to fight. It was exhausting for him, to say at least. And it wasn't only performance in films, but also girls, fans, autographs, etc. Every other man would happy to have so attention. But not him. He liked that he finally was noticed, but it was for a wrong reason. They called him a soldier, a savior, a hero. However, he is not. He is an actor, a liar. That wasn't what he was dreaming his entire life, but he wouldn't chose to be a lab rat at all. He feels miserable. The next day, he will fly to Europe for his world tour. That's why Senator Brandt gave him a day off. Good thing that the last show was in New York, in his own city. He needs time for himself. He needs a place where he wouldn't be as a Captain America, but as Izuku Midoriya. Fortunately, he had one. Todoroki's family household. Knocking on the front door, it was opened by Natsuo, which arm already healed. Wow, I can't believe it. The Captain America at her doorstep. Mom, sister, come here faster. The super soldier is here. Glad to see you too, Natsuo said dryly, Izuku rolling his eyes. However, he is glad to be near a person who sees him for who he is. Izuku, screamed Fuyumi, running to the door with her ray, hugging him tightly. Oh, the serum worked. You look healthy than ever. And bigger, commented Natsuo, hugging him either. I think you can get a girl by yourself now. You wouldn't need me anymore. Did you find her already? Stop joking, Natsuo, said Fuyumi. He just came home. He don't need your teasing. Izuku didn't care about siblings bickering. He is happy that he finally with people who can be called friends. The dinner was quiet. No side didn't say a word. Izuku didn't want to talk about his problems. He didn't want to worry them. Todoroki's didn't know what to ask him. However, they understand that there is a problem in Midoriya. How is America? Suddenly asked Ray. Is it beautiful? You just was in many cities and I never had left New York. That's why I am curious. Well, the tour is pretty much entertainment, commented Izuku. I could guess that you saw my shows. The show, film, and commercials. You are everywhere. Answer, Natsuo. It's impossible to not see you. You're a famous star. I agree, nodded Fuyumi. In my school, every boy talks about you. They want to be just like you. Well, it's good. Then, they will be good soldiers in the future, told Izuku sadly. Why they want to be like him? He is nothing. Yeah, but after this show, I don't think you will be ever welcomed back to Japan. Ever, commented Natsuo, reminding everybody that Izuku was born in Japan, one of the enemy countries. In justification of me, I didn't sing or write this song at all, and I didn't know that they would add crowds to the lyrics, argued Midoriya back. And I think you're right. I would never visit Japan after everything. Izuku, how do you feel about all of this? Asked Ray. She wanted to know his opinion about this American hero. Well, it's okay, lied Izuku awkwardly. I mean, the count of soldiers increased in every city I went. In addition, I become famous and important. However, they knew him for years and his lie didn't fool them even slightly. Ray decided to try to let Izuku open up and asked him again, Izuku, I didn't ask how everybody thinks about it. I asked what you think after everything. And don't lie to us. You are bad at it. We care about you, and we want to help. At her words, Midoriya knew that he can't lie to them. These people are his family. They want to understand his problems and to help him. Knowing that he didn't need to fight anymore, he starts to cry, surprising everyone. I hate my job, he wailed, his tears increasing. All my life people told me that I can't amount to anything because I am weak. Now I change completely. I can do things than some overgrown men. And where they put me? At the stage. Any actor could do it. And I can't refuse because then I will be a lab rat. Everybody calls me a hero. But why? I didn't do anything worth to earn it. I'm not a soldier. I am fraud. I actually expect this phrase from you some years later, commented in joking manner Natsuo. However, he is worried about Izuku and his state. What my brother tried to say is that it could be far worse, said Fubuki. Like what? Izuku asked in sharp sarcasm. Seeing that his outburst made her sad, he makes apologetic face. So Izuku, I know that your situation is not what you dreamt all your life, soothed Rei. However, I think that everything will change. Your dream will come true. You just need to believe in yourself and wait for it. Thanks, Mrs. Todoroki, said Midoriya. He is glad that he came to them. He finally could relax and think about everything. He then decides to change a topic of conversation. How is Shoto? Is he okay? Oh yeah, he is okay, answered Natsuo happily. He already became the best sniper of his regiment. He hits his target with a rifle. However, we didn't heard from him for a week. At his words, Izuku smiled. He is happy that at least his best friend achieved their dream, but he couldn't help but worry that something bad happened to him. He is glad to visit this family. He could talk with them for hours. However, he knows that tomorrow he have a plane. I am sorry, but I need to sleep. I have a flight in early morning. I go to the Italy to perform a show to the soldiers, Izuku said, getting up from the table. Good night. Wait a minute, bro. Can you tell your chorus girls about me? You're handsome, caring, kind big brother. I want to meet some of them, called Natsuo. These words earned him a tired glare from everyone on the table. What? I just am kidding. After Izuku left the room, entire family starts to talk about their concerns about Izuku and his new job. I never saw Izuku so sad. Even when his mother died, said Fubuki. I'm worried about him. You should be worried about his next performance, commented Natsuo in uncharacteristic serious voice. Seeing the confused faces of his sister and mother, he explained, think about it. If you play a soldier for an average people who didn't know a slightest thing about the war, then that is okay. However, if you would play for people which risking their lives at front, then they would feel insulted. His words puts two females in state of worry. Natsuo is right. Izuku's play was putting a smile on civilians who don't understood the concept of war. For the real soldiers, the next show will be a disaster for Midoriya. When Rei Todoroki decides to go to bed, she couldn't help but think about the future. She is afraid what destiny will put her two precious little boys. The only thing she could do is pray to God and hope that nothing bad would happen to them. Italy as Zano. Shoto Todoroki didn't know how he gets to this madness. When he came to the regiment, he was already noticed because of his eyes and hair in young age. However, that didn't stop him at least. He becomes the best shooter with rifle and earned respect from everybody in that place, and earned a place to fight the enemy. He hadn't had a best time as the German troops were attacking members of USA Army. There's so many people he couldn't find his own teammates. It is a real war zone. There's shoots, explosions, screams, dead bodies. Right now, he sits in the ravine with two men superiors, Sergeant Timothy Aloysius Cadwallader, Dum Dugan, and Private Gabriel Gabe Jones. He meets them before this massacre. They are not so bad. Dum Dugan is a belligerent but witty person, a gentle giant who hates injustice and is extremely loyal to his comrades. Gabe Jones is Afro-American who knows French and German. He is one who didn't care about Shoto's nationally. Right now, they're shooting back at their enemies. There got at least 5 more battalions back there, said Dugan. We need a reinforcement for a cover, deduced Shoto. It might be tough, said Jones, showing them a fried transmitter. It means there are no more backups. They're on their own. Shoto, behind you, alerted Dugan. Before explosion happens behind all of them. Here they come, screamed Shoto as they watches on the left, as many Nazi troops coming their way. I hate this, guys, commented older sergeant, already taking his Thompson submachine gun to take all of them out. They're not going to die without a fight. However, before a fight could continue, a strange blue lights suddenly shoots Nazis, making all of them disappear, much to everyone's bewilderment and happiness. Except for Shoto. What had just happened, he thought. Where these lights came from? Who shots them? Did we win, or are we next? And he was right, as suddenly a huge tank appears out of nowhere, startling everyone. Seeing that this thing is glowing blue. You shouldn't be a genius to understood where this blue lights came from. This is something new, commented Dugan. and he couldn't be more right. Unfortunately, they couldn't think about it much as Tank's cannon turns at them, showing them that they are next. Duck, alerted Shoto, falling to the ravine. The last thing he saw a bright blue light. After this, he only saw darkness. Chapter 12, The First Mission. Italy, 5 miles from the front. Izuku addresses a crowd of soldiers dressed in his ridiculous superhero costume. He is ready to rally them up to victory. However, there is one problem. They hate him. "How many of you ready to help me sock old Adolf on the jaw?" asked Izuku eagerly. However, he received only silence. They don't want to listen to this kid who is trying to teach them about the war. "Okay, I need a volunteer." "Already volunteered, kid. How do you think I got here?" "Bring back the girls," answered one of hecklers. These words earned him a collective laugh and cheer from entire audience. "I think they only know the one song. But, let me. I'll see what I can do," stammered Midoriya. He starts to get afraid of them. He don't know what to do. "You do that, sweetheart," the same heckler said mockingly. "Nice boots, Tinkerbell," joked the second one, which causes the crowd of soldiers laugh. "Come on, guys. We're all on the same team here," pleaded Izuku. He tries to calm them down, reminding everyone that he is one of them. Unfortunately, that is far from truth, and he knows it. "Hey, Captain, sign this," screamed the third one. He stands and pulls his boot down and then throws at him. This encouraged every heckler to throw different things at him. Fortunately, Izuku had a shield to protect himself from the falling objects. Seeing that he is not welcomed here, he just left the stage. "Bring back the girls," screamed the fourth heckler, throwing a rock at him. Seeing that girls finally enters the stage, the crowd starts to cheer. However, Izuku is going away sad and tired. He don't blame these people for throwing objects at him. He understands them. These soldiers fought for people, and he's just an actor who plays as a soldier. They have any rights to feel insulted. "Don't worry, pal. They'll warm up to you." "Don't worry," encouraged Gary, thinking that it was just a minor setback. No, they wouldn't, Izuku thought. Why should they? They're risking their own life to win the war. And here comes me, a kid who tries to show them that he alone can win the entire thing. Well, question for you, Captain. Then why you are here on stage, not on the front lines? Later, Izuku sits on the edge of the stage, sketching as rain pours down in the background. He always drawing in his notebook when he is sad. Right now, he finished the sketch of how he feels. Sketch of who he is. Sketch of Monkey riding a unicycle dressing in his suit. This day shows Izuku something that he denied many years. It's not his place. He is not one of them, and never would be. "Hello, Izuku," suddenly greeted Peggy, walking to him. Grata nervously. He is happy that at least someone is pleased that he is here. "Hi," she giggled. She didn't know how he can make her laugh with only words. "What are you doing here?" Izuku asked. He is curious. Wasn't she supposed to be in America? "Officially, I'm not here at all," Peggy answered smugly, as someone could stop her. Before her face made a sympathetic frown. That was quite a performance. "Yeah, I had to improvise a little bit. Crowds I'm used to are usually more, 12-inch, he agreed meekly. He wouldn't perform for some time. That's for sure. "I understand you're America's New Hope?" she asked him. "Bond sales take a 10% bump in every state I visit." Izuku answered the same lie, which he told Todoroki's. However, she knows that there's more than meets the eye. "Is that Senator Brand I hear?" she asked sharply. "You think that I like doing this? Any actor can my job better than me. At least he's got me doing this. Phillips would have had me stuck in a lab," he answered in despair. He didn't want to tell her about his problems, and she makes him losing his walls. "And these are your only two options? A lab rat or a dancing monkey?" Peggy continued to ask questions sharply while looking at his notebook, seeing the drawing. She can't let him to mopping around and do nothing when he can do many things. She's going to wake him up. "You going to let people decide for you all your life? You going to let them to push you around? Dr. Erskine chose you for a reason. You going to let him down? You were meant for more than this, you know." When she mentioned Erskine, Izuku wanted to scream at her face what he thinks of her. However, he stops himself. Why he should scream? She is right about him. He always letting people step on him. He should fight. But how could he? He is a coward. Seeing sad frown on his face makes Peggy ask a question. What? For the longest time since I was a kid, I dreamed about coming overseas and being on the front lines, serving my country, protecting innocence with a brave smile, being a hero for a world. I finally get everything I wanted, and I'm wearing tights, Izuku said, telling her everything about his life, his dreams, his hope. He couldn't contain them inside himself anymore. His words touched her heart. She always saw men as greedy, shameless, dirty, and cowardly egoists. However, Izuku is not one of them. He is kind, caring, brave, and honest. And seeing him letting out of his thoughts, fears, and worries made her understood why Abraham chose him. He maybe was small, but he had the most biggest heart in the world. However, their moment is interrupted by honking in the background as an ambulance arrives with wounded soldiers. They turn around to watch in horror. These people look like they are ready to die. How did it happen? Who did this? Seeing these men at the doorstep of death, Izuku couldn't help but said, "They look like they've been through hell." You almost right. These men, more than most. Akaguro sent out a force to Azano. 200 men went up against him, and less than 50 returned. Your audience contained what was left of the 107th. The rest were killed or captured, Peggy explained, but she didn't notice how Izuku's face lost all his color. The 107th, the moment she told him the number of the regiment, Izuku paled. But that's Shoto's. What? She asked, frightened at seeing the paleness of Izuku. Suddenly, Izuku jumps out and running to the biggest tent. Peggy goes after him. Come on. He encouraged her to come along. He can't wait any longer. This is important. He needs to know status of his best friend. Is he even alive? Colonel Phillips is tired today. All day he was writing condolence letters to people who lost their sons, husbands, brother, and fiancés. They just never ending. That is a part of the war. Sacrifices are inevitable. He has mourned every soldier who died today. He couldn't know how this day could become worse. Colonel Phillips called Izuku, entering the tent with Peggy. Right now, this day had become worse than before. Well, if it isn't the star-spangled teen with a plan. Or are you a man? And what is your plan today? He asked sarcastically. You don't have a time or patience to play with this child actor. I need the casualty list from Azano, demanded Izuku. He didn't care what Colonel thinks about him. Right now, he have more important things, like status of his best friend. You don't get to give me orders, son, Phillips said in anger. He didn't live so long to let actors to order him around. This kid thinks that he became so important and high. Well, he then will be the one to remind him his place in army. I just need one name. Sergeant Shoto Todoroki from the 107th, pleaded Midoriya desperately. You and I are going to have a conversation later that you won't enjoy, Chester said to Peggy, knowing that she didn't suppose to be here. Please, sir. Just tell me if he's alive, sir. Dio. Before Izuku could continue, Colonel interrupted him. I can spell, interrupted Colonel before looking down at Suro in grief, remembering captured soldiers. I have signed more of these condolence letters today than I would care to count. But your friend's name is unique. It's impossible to miss him. I am sorry. He is so young, said Izuku, who couldn't believe that his friend is probably in prison of enemy or worse, dead. He is a year older than me. Really? I thought you were the only 1 inch, Colonel Phillips commented. He always thought that Izuku is the only one who lies in his form. It means that he is not only one. Why you kids can't enjoy the day in the playground and let adults do the work? What about the others? Are you planning a rescue mission? Izuku asked desperately. They couldn't let the people to sit in the prison like caged animals. Yeah, it's called winning the war, answered Chester, breaking all Izuku's hopes. But if you know where they are, why not at least? Asked Izuku, demanding the answer. They're 30 miles behind the lines, through the most heavily fortified territory in Europe. We'd lose more men than we'd save. There are so many risks. He interrupted Midoriya, again explaining him the elementary things. But I don't expect you to understand that because you're a chorus girl. You know, when you screamed at me in Brooklyn, I started to see that you have balls. I could even let you join my regiment in some years later. However, I see that you just decides to join a senator's circus and play propaganda around USA, showing people a lie. It shows that the army is not for you. I think I understand just fine. Agreed Izuku with Colonel. Well, then understand it somewhere else. If I read the posters correctly, you got some place to be in 30 minutes, said Phillips going to his table. However, he didn't saw as Izuku looking at maps, studying it completely. He always could remember things very fast, and serum enhanced this ability further. And he learnt where exactly is imprisoned people. In Austria. Yes, sir. I do, answered Midoriya before walking away. He knows that people waiting for him, and he knows where exactly he needs to be. If you have something to say, right now is the perfect time to keep it to yourself, said Colonel Phillips to Peggy, not even looking at her. But she didn't care at all. She is afraid for Izuku because she knows what he is planning. When Izuku learned that they don't plans to save Shoto, he decides to take matters in his own hands. He will go to the Austria, break into the Hydra base, and save his friend, no matter what. What do you plan to do? Walk to Austria? Asked Peggy, entering the tent, seeing how Izuku, wearing brown coat and green trousers, would fitting him good. If that's what it takes, simply answered Midoriya. You heard the colonel. Your friend is most likely dead, said Peggy, trying to stop him. You don't know that. He could be alive, said Izuku, trying to make his point. Even so, he's devising a strategy. If he detects, she said, only to be interrupted by him. By the time he's done that, it could be too late. If he is alive and I couldn't save him, then I would never watch in the eyes of his family, he screamed while walking out to a jeep. You told me you thought I was meant for more than this. Did you mean that? Every word, she answered honestly. When I first met you, I thought that you were just a kid wanting for attention. But I saw how you were trying. You didn't let your weak body to stop yourself. You was fighting no matter how difficult it was for you. No matter that entire world are against you, you never gives up. And I finally understood why Erskine chose you. Because you have a biggest heart on the planet. Her words puts Izuku in the stupor. Nobody ever told him such kind words and with such honesty. That's why putting his hands on her shoulders, he said, Then you gotta let me go. I know, Peggy said, finally agreeing with Izuku. They were staying at that place for some minute, but for them it felt like eternity. They could staring at each other's eyes forever, and nothing could stop them. However, some good things ending so fast. Hey, lovebirds, shouted Mitsuki Bakugo, startled them, making them letting go of each other with faces blushing red. Did I interrupt something? And no, YUD didn't. Their W wasn't anything W wrong, stuttered Izuku in nervous voice. And what are you doing here? And how much did you hurt? I am here because you need my weapons, and I am showing how they works, Mitsuki answered smugly. And I heard everything. What are you going to do to us? Asked Peggy, already preparing for the worst. I want to help you, she answered, surprising the two. Riding on this rust bucket couldn't get you in time. I can send you two to Austria much faster. Why are you doing this? Asked Izuku. What we're trying to do is treason. We would put you in danger. I don't care about rules, Colonel, or danger. I am doing things my way, Mitsuki explained. But why I'm doing this? I have my own reasons. Are you coming or not? Without the words, all three of them making their way to hangar. Meanwhile, at the backstage, girls are getting ready for the next performance. However, there are some difficulties on the way. On stage, girls. 5 minutes, said Gary, telling girls to hurry. Where's my helmet? Asked one of the girls, which couldn't find her helmet with it on the forehead. Has anyone seen Midoriya? Asked Gary, who wanted to know where the main star is. Sorry, Gary, but Captain Midoriya on his first mission. When Izuku and Peggy enters the hangar, they weren't surprised to find 5 planes made by Bakugo Industries. What surprised them, that in the cockpit already sitting a man. They don't understood how Mitsuki find a pilot so fast. However, they hadn't time to guess as the plane suddenly fly to the sky. Right now, they're sitting in the vehicle watching a map, trying to guess the location of Hydra Camp. The HYDRA camp is in Krausberg, tucked between these 2 mountain ranges. It's a factory of some kind, explained Peggy, pointing at the map. We should be able to drop you right on the doorstep, commented Mistuki, sitting at the second sit in the cockpit. What do you think, Masaru? Can you fly us there? Masaru Tingles is a man in his late 20s, probably the same age as Mitsuki. He's average height and build who has short brown hair similar in style to Mitsuki, a short mustache and rectangular glasses. He is best aviation pilot in his generation. He was sent to Bakugo Industries to test new planes for a war. That's how he first met Mitsuki, and they become friends. Despite being friends with Bakugo, he seems to be more calm and less prone to violence. He also don't like his username because for everybody, it's hilarious. I am sorry, but it's too dangerous. We couldn't survive, answer Masaru. He is right. It's too risky. Just get me as close as you can. Agreed Izuku before remembering about punishments they would get when they get back. You know, you three are going to be in a lot of trouble at the lab. And you won't, asked Mitsuki from the cockpit. Where I'm going, if anybody yells at me, I can just punch them, reassured Midoriya. They will undoubtedly shoot you, argued Peggy. Well, let's hope it's good for something, he commented, knocking at his shield, which he took as a weapon. He knows that without a weapon, he wouldn't last a second there, but he can't shoot to save his life. However, he can block the strikes using it. Also, I can't thank you enough for what you are doing for us, mister. Masaru. Just call me Masaru. I'm not so old, interrupted Masaru. Mitsuki's friends are my friends. Also, if we all survive, how about we stop off in Lucerne for a night fondue next week? Masaru is the best young pilot I've ever seen. He was sent to test our planes. That's how we met. Mitsuki said her history with him showing them that he is good at what he's doing. He's best to brave this airspace. We're lucky to have him. I am curious. How do you convince him to fly us there? Asked Peggy, wishing to learn who will be mad enough to fly to the enemy's territory. I can be pretty convincible, Mitsuki answered with smirk. Her smirk explains Peggy everything. So are you two? Do you? Fondue. Izuku asked Mitsuki with red face. Apparently he thinks that this fondue is something indecent. His question puts Masaru in confusion, Mitsuki in bewilderment, and Peggy just ignores his awkward and confused rambling, thinking that she will explain Izuku everything when they get back, before giving him a little box. This is your transponder. Activate it when you're ready, and the signal will lead us straight to you, explained Peggy, giving him a transponder. Are you sure this thing works? He asked skeptically at the device. It's been tested more than you, pal, answered Mitsuki with smile. However, her haplines was short, as suddenly their plane is being bombarded. It means that Hydra noticed them and now attacking them. They're attacking us, screamed Masaru, alarmed. We need to head back. We can't. We are too close to the destination, argued Mitsuki back. No, Masaru is right. You need to head back, said Izuku loudly while putting on parachute. Izuku now knows that they don't have much time. He needs to act now. He then goes towards the open door of the plane to jump. Get back here. We're taking you all the way in, said Peggy, trying to stop him from leaving the plane. No, you don't. You're almost out of time, argued Midoriya back. He couldn't let any of them die only because they are helping him. As soon as I'm free, you turn this thing around and get the hell out of here. You can't give me orders, she screamed desperately. She couldn't let him alone. He could die at the base. The hell I can't. I'm a captain, he argued back, saying his final argument before jumping out of plane. Peggy is standing at the same place as she watches Izuku, who is falling down to the ground. Thankfully, he opens his parachute. The moment he said her that he is a captain, she felt like he changes completely and she couldn't do anything but watch. The same thing happened back to the Brooklyn. She now get it. He did change. The moment he exits the pod, he stops being shy, stuttering little boy and become a man. She now believes that he will complete the mission. Now it's time for his first mission. Chapter 13, Infiltration and Liberation. Hydra Factory, Italy. Right now, Akaguro and Kirigari walk side by side through the workspace, watching as their machines creates new cartridges, which they would use for their grand scheme. These things also using the power of Tesseract. There are hundreds of cartridges. As you can see, production of the Valkyrie is progressing on schedule, even with components of this size, explained Moya, pleased with his accomplishments. Increase the output by 60% and see to it our other facilities do the same, demanded Kaizome harshly. 60% is not enough. He needs more. But the prisoners, I'm not sure they have the strength, protested Kurogiri weakly. The prisoners were working day and night. They deserve a rest. Then use up what strength they have left, doctor, protested Akaguro back. He don't care about their lives. He needs only results. There are always more workers. With these words, he left Dr. Kurogiri alone with his thoughts. The more Moya was spending days with Akaguro, the more grow his wish to run away. But he couldn't, or else Kaizome would kill him. However, before Kurogiri could think about his choices, someone approaches him with a clipboard to ask something, but he quickly answered, not now. He had important things to deal with, like to see how his secret project doing. Meanwhile, at the same time, war prisoners led in the cells. Walking around, the soldiers saw the exhausted, hungry, and hurt people. They didn't want to imagine in what horrors they were put. They are also afraid because they know that they're next. However, they wouldn't give these bastards any satisfactions. They will stand tall till the end. One of the guards knocks the hat from Dum-Dum Dugan's head. You know, Fritz, one of these days, I'm going to have a stick of my own, he said angrily to the guard, promising him a world of pain. And where'd you take a kid with red and white hair? When they enters the base, a short man decides to take Shoto with him while calling him a great subject. Dugan is afraid for what they will do to him. But the second he breaks out of this cell, he will tear entire base apart. Nobody will hurt this kid on his watch. I ask you a question. Answer me, he screamed at the jailer. Unfortunately, the soldier just walks away, leaving angry Dugan at his cell, which makes him hit bars in frustration. Hey, get back here. We hadn't finished the talk. Dugan is left sitting at his cage, watching many people looking at him with sad eyes. All of them wants to escape, but nobody have any strength, will, or hope to fight. And they knows that allies couldn't even got near the base because of the risks. They accept this already. That will be their fate, to be a slave prisoner till their last breath. And there's nothing that they can do. They are doomed. There's no hero who will save them. However, nobody knows that their future hero and saver is just outside the base. When Izuku jumped from the plane, he was feeling the wind in the face, adrenaline in the system, and thrill of the fall. He never felt himself so alive. When he landed in the forest, he couldn't stop himself from breathing hard. It was too risky even for him. But there's no time to wait. There's people waiting for their save. He then runs through the dark woods until he finds a road where trucks are driving by. He knows that they're going to the base. It's best way to enter without notify anyone. That's why he jumps into the back of one of them. Unfortunately, Izuku finds himself face to face with two Hydra guards. Fellas meekly greeted Izuku before they attacked him. Fortunately, they are not so strong. It has ended too fast. He then throws them out of truck. The ride for Izuku was quiet before he finally came to his destination, Hydra Factory. When the truck stopped, one of the soldiers steps closer to check it. He was surprised when he opens the curtain and sees a shield with American flag colors. However, he couldn't acknowledge his allies about infiltration, as Izuku uses his shield to knock him out unconscious. Fortunately, nobody didn't hurt anything. Midoriya then jumps out of truck to the base to investigate it. Inside out, the factory is far more spacious than outside. There are many jeeps, soldiers, guards, tanks, and towers with lanterns. In this base, it was very easy to hide because of his height. However, it was impossible to stay unnoticed because of guards and lantern towers. After his silent and quiet run and knocking out the guards, Izuku finally breaks into the main building. He sees that the guards in that place, more guards than outside. When dodging the soldiers, Izuku accidentally finds open vault, which holds many blue shining cartridges. He hadn't seized that things before, however, the blue light inside is concern him. He feels the strange and unknown power. He confident on one thing. This thing is dangerous. Mitsuki needs to see this. What is this feeling? He thought before picking one of them and putting in the pocket. That thing is emitting kind of energy. I don't know where they get it, but I know that this thing have incredible power. Mitsuki could know what it is. She must have seen this. After taking the cartridge, Izuku finally finds a jail, with many captured American soldiers. He then quickly knocks out guards, alerting the prisoners. "Who are you supposed to be?" asked Gabe, thinking that the person out there is just a hallucination. "I'm," stammered Izuku. It is a dilemma for him. He just can't say them, "Hi, I am Super Soldier Kid who will save you." He needs the name, which would reassure them. And he have one. "I am Soldier Hero, Captain America." "I beg your pardon?" asked British soldier. His name is James Montgomery Falsworth. He thought he didn't hear the answer. However, seeing the prisoner's looks of bewilderment explains him that he did heard the kid pretty well. Seeing the person with shield up there, it means one thing. Despair, hunger, and humiliation finally made them delusional and insane. However, after Izuku climbs down and starting to unlock the cells, made soldiers finally understood that he is real, and they starts pouring out of cells and helping him to open the others. "What? Are we taking everybody?" asked Dugan, looking at the Japanese-looking man. He does not trust the countries which deciding to ally themselves with Nazis. "I'm from Fresno Ace," answered man, showing everybody his dog tags. His name is Jim Morita Cust. Like Izuku and Shoto, he is from Japan, but grow up in Fresno. And he don't like the tone of Dugan. If Japan decides to ally themselves with these slave drivers, doesn't mean that all Japanese are evil. He will show him. However, before a fight could broke out, Izuku steps between them. "Cut out, you two. Right now is not a time for a fight," said Izuku. "Right now you're all prisoners here. You have the same enemies. You're on the one side. It doesn't matter that some of us from another countries, because we are all American people here." His speech made all of the prisoners looking at him. This kid makes them understand that it doesn't matter where they were born because they all have the same enemies. The Nazis. They all start to clap at him, which surprises Izuku completely. He hadn't expected them to actually listen to him and agreeing with him. Maybe there is still a chance. "Is there anybody else?" "I'm looking for Sergeant Shoto Todoroki. He have the bicolor hair and eyes," continued Izuku while searching his best friend. "There was a kid like that," admitted Dugan grimly. "He entered the base like all of us. However, some scientists take here for some project." "Where is he exactly?" asked Izuku angry. He wouldn't let Shoto become a lab rat for their evil experiments. Not on his watch. There's an isolation ward in the factory, but no one's ever come back from it. He could be there, explained Gabe, wanting to help their savior. "All right, the tree line is northwest, 80 yards past the gate. These people put you in the cage like animals. Get out fast and give them hell. I'll meet you guys in the clearing with anybody else I find." Izuku ordered them, letting all of them to be wild and tear this place apart. "Wait, you know what you're doing?" asked James worryingly. He didn't want to let the kid to go alone to the imminent death. "Yeah, don't worry. I've knocked out Adolf Hitler over 200 times. Izuku joked and answered, remembering that in his show, he always knocks out person dressed as Hitler. With these words, he left soldiers alone in the room. Teenager with a shield, who then orders them around, had just saved them. They still couldn't shake the idea that they just sleeps. "Do we just were saved by a kid with a shield?" asked Dugan, wording the question everybody was thinking. "Yep," answered Jim with smirk. He recognized that this kid is Japanese, just like him. "Well, it means that we are not insane," joked Dugan, earning chuckles from the others. "It doesn't mean that he is not right. We must give these Fritzes a hell they will never forget for what they did to us." With these words and battle cry, they finally started the liberation of this base. The prisoners escape into the compound, overpowering the guards. They maybe was hungry, exhausted, and weaponless, but the numbers and their rage made them invincible, showing the Nazi no mercy. Fortunately, not all of guards had their Tesseract-powered guns, which makes their breakout easily. One of the escapades, Jacques Dernier, a member of French resistance and explosives expert, picks up one of the new Tesseract-powered Hydra guns from one of soldiers. "You know how to use that thing?" asked Jim in alarm. "If he misses, it means death." Before Jacques could answer, he accidentally pulls the trigger, which made the blue light to fire and blowing up a wall, surprising both of them. Seeing the explosion made Morita only said meekly, "Okay." Hydra Factory Command Center. While looking at surveillance screens, Kaizom noticed some commotion at the compound, which surprises him. Who could infiltrate the factory? "What is happening?" he asked in disbelief. He couldn't explain how the prisoners could escape. He then presses an alarm, which announces to the base about the commotion. It doesn't matter that they escape, they will be soon dead. Prisoners continues to rampage in the compound, but reinforcement comes to even the odds. At the same time, Dugan and Jones climbs over a small tank and then enters inside to gain an advantage. "Hey, not exactly a Buick," commented Dugan looking at the controls. He is not stupid, but he couldn't understand how these things works. Everything so alien to him, and everything are written in Germany. He didn't know the language. Fortunately, he have one who knows. "That one. Zündung, it means ignition," said Gabe, pointing at the controls. "Zündung?" asked Dugan in confusion. However, he don't have a time to think as he pushes it, reviving the engine. Seeing that Jones and Dugan starts the tank, Fallsworth jumps to them on the tank's cannon. He then bellowing, "Get this thing going, Dugan." "I didn't know you spoke German, Jones," said Dugan in shock. 3 semesters at Howard's, switched to French, girls much cuter, commented Gabe with a smirk, remembering his sweet time at college. "Didn't ask for the resume," barked Dugan back. But inside he is happy. Then tank finally starts to move, and the real show just started. They all shoots at the enemies. Dugan and Jones command the tank, and Fallsworth aims and shoots, destroying the compound. Even the new reinforcements couldn't help as Tank Trio keeps destroying the buildings in which they came from. They don't have a chance. Meanwhile, in the Hydra control room, Akaguro continues to watch as the former prisoners destroying the compound, which annoys and irritated him. He also couldn't understood how did they escape. How all these rats broke out of their cells, he thought angrily. They were placed in there for days without food and water. They don't suppose to have any strength left. How they escape? No, they didn't broke out by their own. They probably get a help from outside. Right question is who break in our secret base and let them out? His question answers by grunts he hears in the other monitor. He looks at it and sees a teenager fighting with his goons easily. He recognized this individual at 1 second. He saw him in the newspapers. Izuku Midoriya, an American first super soldier who later becomes a patriotic star. Seeing the kid on the screen made Kaizo mad at 3 different things. At Erskine, that he made his chosen one a kid. Both of them now a supreme being. And his equal as child. Is that supposed to be an insult? At corrupted society and government for letting a child fight their war. It shows that they also are cowards. All of them. And at Izuku himself for infiltration at his base and for the revolution. It shows him as incompetent fool for letting one person, a kid, to entering his base and destroying it. However, he couldn't help but feel to respect Midoriya's courage, leadership, guts, and mind. Nobody could do something like this and survive to tell about it. But he did. It earns a respect. Seeing that his base becomes ruins and his soldiers losing made him understand that they don't have a chance against rebels. There are too many of them. They lose this battle, but not the war. However, he couldn't let allies to learn all of his plans and secrets. This factory must be destroyed, no matter the cost. That's why he comes to the controls and decides to make a worst action. He activates the self-destruct sequence, which are counting down from 7 minutes. Seeing the tickling clock made Kurojiri terrified. He don't want to die. "No, no. What are you doing?" screamed Moya, afraid for his life. Kaizome couldn't let to destroy the base. They're their people in here. "Our forces are outmatched," simply answered Kaizome, not seeing anything wrong with that. It's too dangerous to let allies to get this base. And they have more soldiers back at the headquarters. Looking at the screens, which shows how their forces loses, and seeing that it's impossible to overpersuade Akaguro made Kurojiri to run away to save his life and his projects. Kaizome, like his colleague, decides to pack Tesseract and go away either. However, he still wanted to meet the Erskine's perfect creation. He wants to see if Kid deserved this power or not. Something tells Kaizome that they would meet soon. He couldn't wait. While Tank Trio continues to shoot at every Hydra soldier, Dernier and Morita running through the compound with other prisoners, picking up the fallen weapons of enemies and giving them to others. "Keep moving," screamed Morita before his eye catches boxes full of grenades. That give him an idea. Grab those grenades. Seeing the free ammunition, all prisoners runs to the boxes and throwing them at their enemies, blowing them up. It was a true hell for Nazis, which all of the prisoners promises to give them. However, either side needs to leave the base as soon as possible, or it would be their last battle. Chapter 14. Meet of Hero and Stain. When Izuku left the jail, he then started to search the ward, which was where his friend imprisoned. He couldn't help but worry about the prisoners he liberated, if they are okay. Fortunately, he heard the sounds of explosions, which tells him that they are okay. Now he can fully concentrate to finding Shoto. Suddenly, he sees in the corridor the small man, which is carrying many blueprints that really fits the description. Seeing that super soldier glaring daggers at him makes Kirojiri run for his life in terror. Izuku wants to chase him, but stops when he hears a familiar voice. "Sergeant, 32,557. Someone said. "Shoto," said Izuku in recognition. He would recognize this voice anywhere. He walks in the room and finds Shoto strapped to a chair. He understood that this room is in one of the testing labs. He runs to his best friend and starts to unstrap him while trying to wake him up. "Shoto? Oh my god, what they done to you?" "Is that?" started Todoroki while trying to wake up. "It's me. It's Izuku," he answered with smile, happy that his best friend is alive. However, he noticed that his face has multiple bruises. They decide that he would be easy to break him up because of his age. "Izuku?" Shoto asked in disbelief. He thought that he had been dreaming because of the short man experiments, but now he sees that person near him is real. "Come on," said Izuku, unstrapping the last strap. "Izuku," said Shoto, finally realizing his friend. Getting up from the chair, he noticed that Izuku become bigger and taller. Taller than him. What's happened to him? "I thought you were dead," commented Izuku, helping him stand when Shoto was falling. He still is weak from the experiments. "I thought you were smaller," commented Shoto, sharply back. The last time he saw him, he was small, pale, and sick. How did the change happen? "Come on," said Izuku, ignoring the question. They don't have time for a talk. Before exiting the lab, Izuku sees the map, which shows the destination of many Hydra bases. He remembers it. "What happened to you?" continued to persist Shoto. He is not walking without the answers. Unfortunately, his tired body couldn't help but falling to the ground if not Izuku catching it. "I joined the army," answered Izuku, the short version of his transformation. He wants to tell the Shoto everything, and he will, after they escape the factory. "Did it hurt?" asked Shoto. He knows that his friend wouldn't tell him anything right now, but he wants to know the state of it. "A little," answered Izuku, and he didn't lie. In comparison to Erskine's death, the procedure hurt a little. And with these thoughts, two friends were trying to exit this place before it's too late. Unknown to both of them that under them is bombs. They don't have enough time. At the same time, prisoners continue to attack the compound, shooting every Hydra soldier at their way, coming closer to the main gate. Seeing the last obstacle at his way, the stolen tank obliterates it, giving the prisoners exit from this nightmarish place. That's finally over. They are free. Now, they only need to wait for their young savior. Where is he? Izuku and Shoto continues to escape this factory. It's become easier when Shoto finally wakes up and starts to walk by himself. They enters the main hall, and they only need to cross it to exit this hell. However, before they could do it, suddenly explosion started causing them almost to fall down. After the first explosion, another happens and another, and another. All of this explosions made the fire and stops their only passageway, which made them to climb higher on the stairs to find another way out. And they find it in the bridge at the highest area. What both of them didn't expect that they were greeted by two unpleasant people. People who started Hydra in the first place. "Captain America, how exciting," I'm a great fan of your films, greeted Kaizome with sneer, surprising two teens walking at the bridge. Izuku never seen Akaguro in person, but because of Erskine's past, he learnt that this man is Stain of this world. When he finally met him, he is disgusted with him. This man starts HYDRA, orders to kill many people, included Dr. Erskine, enslaved soldiers like an animals. He is not going to get away from this. When I first learned that the government lets a child be experimented and let them to fight their war, I understood that our society not only corrupted but also cowardly, continued Akaguro with disgust as Izuku is stepping on the bridge. Kaizome still couldn't let go that they using adolescents as weapons. Corrupted bastards. So Dr. Erskine managed it after all. I still couldn't believe that he would choose a teenager, not exactly an improvement, but still impressive. Izuku couldn't hold much longer. Dr. Erskine helped him to achieve his dream. He is good man, and he's not going to let this sadist to insult his memories about him. Not on his watch. With these thoughts, Izuku runs to the Akaguro and suddenly punches him in the face, saying, "You've got no idea. And don't you dare insult Dr. Erskine. He is better man than you ever was." "Haven't I?" asked Kaizome while nursing his cheek. The punch somehow moved Akaguro's skin and showing something red under his eye. This punch surprised Kaizome, however. He knew that kid is strong because of serum. He couldn't imagine that he's so strong. It hurts. Well, if kid wants to fight, he will get it. Akaguro goes to hit Izuku, but Izuku protects himself with a shield, making a large dent in there, which surprises the duo. The shield made from steel, and he made such a large dent with one punch. Kaizome's assault didn't end with that. He then takes his katana and tries to slash his opponent. Fortunately, Izuku blocks every swing of katana with his shield, but the last swing makes him to fall. However, Izuku grabbed hold of the bars and kicked Hydra Leader to send him flying off the other side, stopping Akaguro from killing him. As they fight, nobody noticed as Kurogiri pulls a lever and the catwalk there standing on retracts to either side, separating them. Arnim thought that this fight could continue for hours, and both of sides didn't have time to do it. They were blown up if they couldn't escape in time. He don't like Kaizome, however, he is his only chance to survive. He wants to live, you know. Seeing that their battle is interrupted by Kurogiri, Kaizome decides to let Izuku know that he is true masterpiece. No matter what lies Erskine told you, you see, I was his greatest success, Kaizome announced before doing something that nobody guessed. He peels off the skin on his face to reveal that his true face. It revealed that he had no nose, bald, and his ears almost invisible. The most disturbing thing was his red skin. He truly wears the title Red Skull. Literally. For the boys, it was most horrifying they ever saw in their life. The more for Izuku. He heard that Kaizome, because of incomplete serum, got some side effects. But he couldn't imagine them being so terrifying. He really was lucky to keep his old skin. I no longer just Kaizome Akaguro. I am Red Skull, he announced, not caring that he traumatized two boys for life while opening the case and showing them Tesseract. And I will stain this world red with the Tesseract. He thought that his speech will send terror to the heart of boys. However, you don't have one of those, do you? Asked Shoto, his best friend, not hearing the nonsense of Red Skull. Izuku only could simply shake his hand as no. He was busy staring at the glowing blue cube. The thing was glowing the same light as Hydra cartridges. He just understood that this thing was using as power source for all their weapons. You are deluded, Captain Teen. He continued with sneer while walking towards elevator and throwing his face to the pit of fire. You pretend to be a simple soldier, but in reality, you're just afraid to admit that we have left humanity behind. Unlike you, I embrace it proudly, without fear. Then how come you're running? Izuku asked with confidence, seeing his opponent retreat. I'm not running away, Captain, answered Skull with smirk. I'm giving you an opportunity to live your life. You see, despite some rumors about me, I always had a principle in my life, to never kill or hurt children. That's the reason why I decided to let you go, to go away from the war, to enjoy your adolescence. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had a choice but to kill you. With these words, the door of elevator closes. taking HYDRA scientists away to escape. Seeing that his enemies escaped, Izuku understood that they're almost out of time. They need to go away from here and fast. Come on, let's go up, he screamed to Shoto before both of them running to the higher area. When they finally enter the elevator, Kirojiri thought that he's saved. That with Akaguro, he is safe. Unfortunately, he is wrong. Sir, are we going to the roof? He asked question to Skull, who didn't even bother to cover his face any longer. He didn't see the need to do it. World must know what is perfection. The doors opened to reveal a plane. That put Kirojiri in confusion. He knows that this plane have only one place. How will he escape? What about me? Where will I sit? Red Skull didn't answer his question. He just gives Moya his car keys. The doctor is too valuable to lose. He threatened Kirojiri, not a scratch, doctor. Not a scratch. With these words, both Hydra scientists on their chosen vehicles escaping the factory, thinking about their next step. After their enemies left, Izuku and Shoto get to the highest floor. Beneath them, everything is on fire. They have to reach the other side of the room fast. Seeing a thin gantry, they decide to use this as a bridge. Unfortunately, that thing is slowly falling to the fire. They need to hurry. Let's go. One at a time, commanded Izuku to Shoto. His friend needs freedom more than he does. Shoto slowly and carefully walking on the gantry. He knows one wrong move, and he is dead. Unfortunately, on the halfway gantry starts slowly collapsing. Seeing that he only got seconds, he runs to the other side unscratched. However, the gantry finally slid down behind him, closing only way out. Izuku stuck on the other side without way to escape. Gotta be a rope or something, screamed Shoto, frantically searching for something to help his friend. Just go. Get out of here, ordered Izuku, thinking for his way out. No, not without you, argued Shoto. His friend come to save him when he lost any hope to escape. He couldn't let Izuku die in this place. Both of them will return home, together. Izuku knows that his time slowly dropping away. He needs to act now. He doesn't have a choice. That's the reason he backed up all the way to the end and then run at full speed towards the edge and jumped off with great force. Then explosion happens at the same time. Dust and smoke covering him. This stunt made Shoto hold his breath in horror. He is surprised to see that Izuku can jump so high. He was afraid about the life of his friend. He didn't know if he alive or not after this explosion. He could only wait. 1 second. 2. 3. Did the fire burn him? Suddenly the loud sound startled him, making him look down and see that someone is grabbing the edge of the railing. He comes closer and sees that this someone is Izuku. That makes him smile. He is alive. I told you. You are reckless, commented Shoto, pulling him up. I know. Let's get out of here, he ordered before running away with Shoto behind him. After some running, they finally exit to the compound to see many soldiers lying everywhere dead. Izuku understood that the prisoners truly give them hell. They need to find prisoners and show them the US base. It wouldn't be difficult to find them. You just need to choose the way where many destruction. After escaping the base and going far away from it, the prisoners decide to stop and catches their breath. However, some of them decided to stay for someone else. While we are stopped, we should continue to run. What we are waiting for, commented one of the soldiers. Not for what? For who? Answered Dugan. He decides to wait for the teens to get back. It's little we can do for him, after he saved us. But we don't know if he is alive, Dugan said. Gabe. You saw the explosions at the factory. You probably have caught in them. I don't want to think like this, but you need to open your eyes. The kid couldn't survive it. Dugan didn't want to believe it, but he couldn't help but agree with them. He's dead. The only thing they could do is to continue to go to the base and tell them about his sacrifice. It's pity. You want to be his friend. Fortunately, the destiny on his side today. Hey, wait for us. Izuku called, running with Shoto behind to them. His arrival surprised everyone. They thought that the kid dead, but he survived. It's incredible. Some of the soldiers decided to greet him. Well, glad to see you alive, Captain, commented Dugan jokingly. Happy that they are alive. Also, Shoto, is that your friend you told us about? Yes, he is, answered Shoto. Guys, meet my best friend, Izuku Midoriya. At his greeting, Izuku only could smile and wave shyly. Still couldn't use to large groups. Suddenly, he felt like something is poking his shoulder, making him look to the left, and he sees that the poking person is Fallsworth. I thought that you just our hallucination, or our dream, he explained, making everyone a laugh. If this is a dream, I don't want to wake up, commented Gabe with laugh. When you told us about your friend, we thought that he is 17 years old, not 25. When did he become so strong? 3 years ago. I am 18 now. And some months ago, Izuku answered, surprising all people around him. They couldn't believe he is so young, but he had many accomplishments. I explain everything when we will continue to move. Izuku, Shoto, Morita, said Jacques, referring to their strange names. Where did you get these names? From Japan, answered Jim before continuing on his home language. And I'm happy that I'm not the only Japanese man in the America. Glad to meet you both. Likewise, both Izuku and Shoto said in their native language. Hey, stop talking on your language. We are on the move, said Dugan. He didn't like that they were talking at the language that only some could understand. What do they talk about? What the plan, Cap? His question made every soldier to look at the Izuku with questionable glances. It was nerving him. Are you talking to me? Asked Izuku in disbelief. Why an overgrown man would ask a question a kid? No, he talking to the tree. Of course he talking to you, guy, answered Fallsworth dryly. But I'm just a guy, said Izuku, to made them see that he's just a normal guy who didn't know what to do. However, his words made something unexpected. It made them laugh, but not at him. They are laughing as if he just told them the funniest joke in the world. Yeah, we know that you were just a guy, said Dugan while laughing. But you're the guy that can break into a secret base, break out the war prisoners, started a liberation, and blew up an entire base. And I don't care if you were even a baby. You saved our butts back there, when nobody even thought to do it. That's why we asking what the plan, Cap. These words made Izuku almost cry with happiness. Nobody told something so kind to him. Seeing the smiles on every soldier made Izuku understand that they agree with Dugan. They all believe in him. They don't care if he is kid, because actions told louder than words. They accepted him as one of them, as a soldier. Okay, I can contact to the camp with that thing, he answered while pulling out a device, only to be disappointed because the transponder is fried and burned. It looks like that this thing didn't survive the fire in the factory. Okay, then we should go as I told you back there. If we go to the northwest all night, then we will get to the U.S. base by the morning. Are you all ready? Yeah, all of them bellowed to their saver. Then let's go, he continued with his new Cap voice. Yes, they continued to cheer. With the cheers, Izuku led prisoners to the base. But not as a guy. This mission changed him. He is not a boy anymore. He is a soldier. His dream is finally come true. Now only thing he needs to do is make sure that the war prisoners will come to the base and become a court-martialed for treason. But he don't care about it. It will be tomorrow. Today he is soldier, and he is happy. Chapter 15, finally a soldier. Italy U.S. Army Camp. After letting Izuku to jump out of the plane, Peggy, Masaru, and Mitsuki flew back to the base. They didn't want to leave him alone at the enemy's territory, but they hadn't had a choice or else the plane would be destroyed. When they got back, angry Colonel Phillips greeted them, who is not happy that they stole a plane, flew to the enemy territory without any permission, and left a civilian to the enemy's hands. Right now, he screams at Masaru and Mitsuki for their insubordination. I can't believe you did it, screamed Phillips in the hangar. You know your stunt could reveal our location. We should be happy that they didn't decide to do it. I can understood Agent Shield and Bakugo. They are women, they don't know the meaning of war. But you, Masaru, hope for our aviation. Just decide to risk all our lives only to fly 2 women and boy to the Hydra base. Shame on you. At his words, Masaru only could to look down in shame. But he didn't have any regrets about his actions. He would always help Mitsuki and her friends. Mitsuki could only look with frown at her friend. It's not his fault. She persuades him to fly them to Austria. If it wasn't for her, he would be chewing toy for Colonel. It's all her fault. It's not his fault, said Mitsuki loudly. I asked him to fly us over there. It's my responsibility. If you want to find anyone guilty, then it's me. Ms. Bakugo, the fact that you can bully anyone, even soldiers, to do your bidding is not surprising me at all, Chester continued with sneer. With every word Philip screamed at them, Mitsuki wanted to smack him in the face. However, it will only could give more problems. She wouldn't do it. Yet, it still didn't change the fact about your AWOL. I am sorry, Masaru, but I don't have a choice to bar you from the next missions. Consider yourself fired. With these words, Masaru could only gape with horror. He couldn't believe it. He is not pilot anymore. It's over. There's nothing he could do. Fortunately, he had someone who could. If you go away, then heck I'm going too, she screamed Mitsuki. She is not going to let some old man to bully her real and only friend. She's going to gamble with him. She knows that it's risky, but she should try. For Masaru. And with me going my modifications, my transports, my weapons, everything. You just lost only super soldier you had. Let's see how you can win without my weapons. Phillips didn't want to admit it, but she is right. Without super soldier army, they lost any advantage against HYDRA. They need years to decipher this genetic code. With her weapons, they could even the odds. Losing the contract with Bakugo Industries would losing all fighting chances. He didn't have a choice but to compel with her demands. He starts to respect Bakugo. Maybe she is woman, but she knows how to talk. Whatever. Do whatever you want, Colonel Phillips said grumpily, walking away. I have more important things to do, like a talk with Agent Shield and writing a letter to Senator Brandt about the death of his soldier actor. With these words, he left the hangar, leaving Mitsuki and Masaru alone. They also exhale a breath they were holding, relaxed that their problems are over. At least for now. Oh, I don't have a words, commented Masaru with open jaw. Thank you for saving me. But it was too risky to gamble on it. He could agree. I'm not worth it. No, you are, argued Mitsuki back. It's my entire fault. He is right. I agree on this idea in the first place. I did bully you to fly us there. I was only telling the truth. I disagree with you, answered Masaru louder. You didn't bully me at all. I agreed with your decision. I'm just as guilty as you. Phillips can't talk to you like that. It's a lie. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody said such words before. What Colonel said for me, it was a normal thing, confessed Mitsuki, almost tearing up from his kindness. Still, I couldn't let him to scream at you like that. I don't have many people who I can call friends. And I wouldn't let my only friend to be fired because of my stubbornness. I'm your only friend? Asked Masaru in disbelief. Who couldn't believe that person as Mitsuki could be without friends? She is smart, funny, brave, and beautiful, maybe a little loud, but it's not important. How a person like this could be alone? I can't imagine Bakugo to be without friends. I think you have tons of friends. They're not friends. They are vultures, admitted Mitsuki with a sad frown. She didn't want to tell anybody about her life. But she trusts Masaru. He have right to know. They only want to know Bakugo Industries heiress. They don't want her to know about me. For them, I only exist as pretty money bag or weapon constructor. The second I lose the money, nobody would need me. Well, then all of them are idiots, said Masaru in outrage. He couldn't believe that people looks at Mitsuki like that. She is more than pretty and more than weapon constructor is. She's kind soul who wants just to help. She don't deserve such attitude to herself. You don't deserve such awful words. You are more than just pretty dame. You can build planes, tanks, weapons, etc. If people can't see it, then they don't deserve you at all. It's their fault that they don't want to meet such a good person as Mitsuki Bakugo. Mitsuki was surprised. Masaru is the first person who sees her as who she is. Not as money bag, as pretty face, or weapon constructor, but as her. She couldn't believe her ears. She never met a kind person as Masaru. It was too good to be true. Thank you, she whispered to him. She wanted to tell him more, but she didn't want to risk her friendship with him. Anytime, he answered her with a smile. However, he had some dilemma for a while. After meeting with Peggy and Izuku, he couldn't understand why Mitsuki agreed to fly them there. He knows that she is a responsible person. She wouldn't let go a team to the enemy's territory without a reason. But what exactly the reason? Say, can I ask you a question? His question put Mitsuki's brain at stop. This is it. In the plane, he told them about a place with fondue. He wants to ask her on the date. She never thought that Masaru could think of her more than just a friend. She never denied her growing feelings either, but always stopped them. She didn't want to lose her only friend to relationship. But maybe she should try. Fine, you win, she said with her pink cheeks. But I got a busy week. How about we move our date to the next Tuesday? Which place is your fondue cafe? And no, I didn't meant tea that. And no, I meant it. I want it. I want it, but not all right in now, stuttered Masaru with blushing face which rivaled Izuku's. He never denied that he wanted to date Mitsuki, but not like this and right now. Seeing Mitsuki's confusion, he continues, "That wasn't my question." "Oh, sorry," she chuckled with embarrassment. She couldn't believe that she almost got caught. "Ask away." "Why did you decide to help them?" he asked seriously, finally dropping a bomb. "Mitsuki, I know that you are a responsible person and you wouldn't let an inexperienced teen to go to the war zone without a reason. I just want to know which reason." "I knew Dr. Erskine," she said. She knew that Masaru would like to know her reason. And after everything, she didn't have any restraints to hold her truth from her only friend. Seeing confusion on his face, she explains, "You don't get it, do you? When I started to help Erskine with his project, I expected that he'd be just like others. However, he wasn't. He is kind compassion man who wants to stop this war from killing all of us. We actually had a lot in common. Both of us were born in countries, which is our enemies. Nobody trusted us because of our nationality. And Izuku, Abraham chose him as a soldier who will end this war. I decided to trust Erskine's decision." For Masaru, it was a shock. He didn't imagine such connection between Doctor and her. But thinking about it makes him to see many similarities. Both of them had problems with America, both honest people who wants to help others. Erskine was a truly good man. "Do you regret your choice now?" he asked, already knowing the answer. "No, not even slightest," Mitsuki answered with smile. "And I don't think that Peggy and Izuku regrets either." "You know, it's pity about Peggy," Masaru said with frown. "You could protect me, but not her. I'm afraid what Colonel could do with her." "Yes, you're right," she agreed with frown. "She knows that she couldn't protect Peggy. She's on her own now." "What we can do?" he asked rhetorically. "Wait," she simply answered. "They needs to wait for Izuku's appearance or for Peggy's fate. That's the only thing they can do. Fortunately, they don't need to wait so long." At the same time, Phillips dictates the letter to Brand about the Izuku's death. He didn't know that he dead for sure. However, Colonel is experienced commander. He knows that the mission of this scale is imminent death, even for all army. What is there to say about the one teen? He didn't want to admit it, but Izuku Midoriya is dead. And that's his fault for not stopping him. "Senator Brandt, I regret to report that Captain Izuku Midoriya went missing behind enemy lines on the 3rd. Aerial reconnaissance has proven unfruitful. As a result, I must declare Captain Midoriya killed in action. Period." Chester dictates the words to Corporal grimly. He never didn't want him to die. He wanted only to protect him from his dreams. And he failed. At these words, Peggy enters the tent while carrying photos and documents. She heard that Colonel Phillips already announced that Izuku is dead. But they don't know for sure. He could be alive. He must be. The last surveillance flight is back. No sign of activity, Peggy said, showing him pictures. No signs of life. "Go get a cup of coffee, Corporal," ordered Phillips. "Yes, sir," he said, leaving the room, leaving the Colonel and Agent alone. Both of them were staying and staring each other in the eyes. Both of them need to talk about all of this. He wanted to know what female agent was thinking about letting him go, and she wants to know her own fate. What will happen to her after this stunt? "I hope you're happy, Agent Shield. You let a boy to sew a stupid thing, and now he pays for it with his life." He began showing disdain for her actions. "I can't touch Bakugo and Tingles. She's rich, and she's the Army's #1 weapons contractor. He's the best pilot of this generation. You are neither one. With respect, sir, I don't regret my actions. And I don't think Captain Midoriya did either," she argued back with honest. She is telling truth. She, as Masaru and Mitsuki, regret nothing. They do what they need to do. What makes you think I give a damn about your opinions? Chester asked with sarcasm. That's why he believes that women can't be at the war. Their feelings could jeopardize all war. This is results. I took a chance with you, Agent Shield. And now America's golden boy and a lot of other good men are dead because you had a crush and forgot to use your head. It wasn't that. I had faith, she said with blushing face. She didn't deny that Izuku is attractive and maybe she's having a little crush on him. However, she decides to help him because she believes in him. Well, I hope that a big comfort to you when they shut this division down, he said with frown. He is right. Without Super Soldier and with so many lost soldiers, they wouldn't last long. In addition, Senator Star's Spangled Goose, which hatches golden eggs, is dead. He will be so angry when he would learn it. To survive, they need a miracle. Fortunately, they have one. Suddenly, the soldiers starts running around and talking excitedly at the camp. That put these two in question. What exactly made them so alive? And why they go to the edge of the camp? What the hell's going on out there? Asked Chester while exiting the tent. They follow the crowd to the edge of the camp, and what they saw made them astonished. They sees many people coming their way. By attire and some bruises, it looks like they are prisoners. However, what surprised them more, that at the front, it's Izuku who leading them. It means that he did it. He saved them, and he didn't save only some soldiers. By the size of the crowd, it looks like he saved all prisoners. Look who it is, cheered one of the soldiers, happy to see his saved friends. Everyone then cheers and claps their hands as prisoners enters the camp. When Izuku came to Phillips and Peggy, he finally stopped. There's so much things to him to explain, such as Hydra plans and their power source, Akaguro's war map, and his escape to the factory. He also knows that what he did is treason and must pay for it. First, he needs to make sure that injured people are treated. Some of those men need medical attention, Izuku said while saluting. Medic, we got wounded, one of the soldiers called Nurse. Right over here, answered the nurse who has started to treat wounded prisoners. I know what you're going to say, started Izuku, already ready for whatever punishment Colonel could think of. That's the reason I'd like to surrender myself for disciplinary action. However, Colonel didn't want to punish him at all. Why should he? Because he broke some rules? Everybody breaking them. It's pale in comparison of this accomplishment. He did something what no man would ever accomplish to do. When Izuku jumps on the grenade, it shows Chester that kid have guts. When he screamed at him, it's showing them that he have balls. Now, he liberated entire base alone. Even groups of overgrown people couldn't do something more closely to this. He finally understood why Erskine chose Izuku to be a first super soldier. He is incredible and have infinite potential. He is a soldier. No, he is a true hero. That won't be necessary, soldier, Chester said the last part with a smile. Izuku's face blighted. Does that mean? Also, welcome back from mission, Captain. Yes, sir, he answered with brightness smile. It means that he finally did it. He earned the Phillips's respect. Faith, huh? Chester asked with smirk while looking at happy Peggy. He then walks away helping wounded guide to the medic. Peggy is still standing at the same place looking at Izuku with a calm and happy expression. She is happy that he is alive, but she is not pleased that he didn't contact her all this time. He could contact her when he liberated the base. They could take all of them back to camp. At least when he landed to made them know that he alive. She's going to get the answers from him right here and right now. You're late, she said displeasingly. Couldn't call my ride. He answered sheepishly her while holding up the broken transponder. It looks like this thing didn't survive the fall or the fire. Explaining her why he didn't contact them as soon as possible. Understanding his reasons, Peggy smiled at him. She is happy that he survived and proof everybody that he is a true soldier. You really got taller. Cap, Shoto asked with a smirk from the crowd looking at soldiers who finally acknowledged his best friend. Is it permanent? So far. Yeah, Izuku answered with smirk. Hey, let's hear it for Soldier Hero, Captain America, announced Shoto to the crowd. That made all of them to cheer and clap more. Izuku is standing in the center of the crowd with a goofy smile on his face. He couldn't believe his happiness. These people finally acknowledged him, not as actor, but as soldier. They believe in him. They trust him. He finally did it. His dream have come true. He is finally a soldier. The news about Izuku's accomplishments reached to the whole world. This news encouraged the Allies to fight harder. All prisoners had given rights to go back to their home. And Izuku himself is earned himself an award, Medal of Honor. He is supposed to be in America to receive this award from Senator Brand himself. Brand is pleased about the Midoriya's accomplishments. He already thought the story he will tell at the banquet. The story about how he saw a true potential in him when nobody didn't even notice him. How he put Izuku at the front. He already hearing the praise he will get from the people. And nothing will change his mood. At least that's what he thought. I am honored to present this medal for valor to my personal friend and pupil, soldier hero, Captain America, he announced to the crowd, making them clap for hands. However, something happened. He didn't appear. Captain America, he repeated, turning around, but there is still no one there. Captain, that's your cue, he repeated much louder, thinking that kid didn't hurt him. Senator starts to worry. The more he didn't appear, the more he getting embarrassed. Hearing sounds of footsteps puts Brant at ease. However, it's not Izuku who enters the podium, but Gary, Brant's aide. He is not here, whispered Gary. Not here means not in the stage, whispery asked Senator, hoping that Izuku almost on their podium. No, not here means that he is not in America at all, ended Gary, shocking Brant. He stayed in the Europe. This revelation puts Brant in the difficult situation. Without Midoriya, he can't achieve his ideas about popularity and to improve his social status higher. He is done without Izuku. I thought he'd be taller, said his thoughts aloud the legendary General Stan Lee. He expected the super soldier to be much taller than that person at the podium. He also heard that Captain America is a young blonde man with blue eyes. I heard he is a teenager with green hair, green eyes, and freckles, commented Major Kohei Horikoshi, conflicting the thoughts of Stan Lee. However, that didn't answer the question everybody are asking. Where is Captain America? Chapter 16, at the bar. London, Allied HQ. Meanwhile, in the London, at the underground Allied HQ, Izuku is looking at the map of Europe while wearing the military uniform. After his achievement, he truly deserves the rank of captain, becoming the youngest captain in history. He decided to not go back to America and decided to stay in London. He finally proves the people his worth. He is not going to stay as actor. Right now, he is marking the map of Europe to point the locations of Hydra's bases, factories, weapon storages, etc. The fifth one was here in Poland, right near the Baltic, he said while marking the spot on the map. And the sixth one was about here, 30, 40 miles west of the Maginot Line. Izuku continued nervously while Soldier takes the map while away. Despite his new photographic memory, he couldn't remember all locations. He looked at the map only for a second. He looks at the Peggy and sheepishly answered, I just got a quick look. Well, nobody's perfect, Peggy joked back to reassure him. No matter that, it's not all Hydra bases. The locations he pointed is more than they knew before. It's still more than enough. Hey, are you not supposed to be in America? To pick your medal right now, asked Mitsuki in confusion while greeted both of them. I am officially decide that I am off from press circuit, Izuku answered honestly. He thought that if he goes back to the America, then Brant would put him in more shows and parties, which he didn't want to go at all. He already decided that he will fight in the war and will go back home when the fight will end. In addition, what bad will happen if he wouldn't appear at one event? Midoriya, announced Phillips, making himself known to the group. You just embarrassed the United States Senator in front of the room, full of reporters, 10 members of parliament. With every word, Izuku winced in worry. He didn't like Brant so much, but didn't want to put in trouble. It looked like he is screwed now. Fortunately, he isn't. Seeing worry at Izuku's face, Phillips just smiles and gives him the medal, saying, You deserve a medal just for that. Did you figure it out what that is yet? He asked, looking at the cartridge in Mitsuki's hands. At mention of this thing, Mitsuki's smile became grim. She couldn't understand what power this object uses. She have many hypotheses. However, none of them is good ones. You know if you believe Midoriya. This is the most powerful explosive known to man, she explained in the grim tone. If, Izuku asked fearfully, it surprised that loud person such as Mitsuki became calm, quiet, and gloom. Well, either you're wrong, or Akaguro's rewritten the laws of physics, she answered darkly before walking away to her lab. The trio stays at the one place thinking about Mitsuki's words. They didn't know how powerful Hydra weapons is, but they knew one thing for sure. The war just become harder. Later, Izuku, Peggy, and Chester discusses their next move. They are looking at Midoriya's map, which shows all Hydra factories. These are the weapon factories we know about, explained Izuku, showing the soldiers' marks he left on the map. Sergeant Todoroki said that Hydra shipped all the parts to another facility that isn't on this map. Agent Shield, coordinate with MI6. I want every allied eyeball looking for that main Hydra base, ordered Phillips. What about us? Asked Peggy. We're going to set a fire under Kaizome Akaguro's ass, explained Colonel before looking at Izuku with smirk. What do you say, Midoriya? It's your map. You think you can wipe Hydra off of it? Izuku is shocked. He couldn't believe that Colonel finally gives him a mission. A true mission. Moreover, not some easy one. It's a mission to wipe out Hydra. A task for a true soldier. He will complete it. But he couldn't do it alone. He needs a team. Yes, sir, Midoriya answered with a salute. I'll need a team. We're already putting together the best men, said Phillips, already thinking about which people will be in the team. With all due respect, sir. So am I, argued Izuku back, surprising everybody. He knows that the team, which Chester putting together will be, consists of the best men. However, Izuku knows that in the war soldiers must not only be best at what they do, but they also needs to trust each other. And he knows perfect people for this job. When Dum Dugan, Gabe Jones, Jim Morita, James Montgomery Fallsworth, and Jacques Dernier were freed from the Hydra, they were gifted by 2 weeks' vacation in the England, and they decided to relax at the most important place in the world, the bar. After everything that's happened, they thought that nothing will ever surprise them. How they wrong. They're surprised when they met Izuku and Shoto, who tells them that he needs them for a team to destroy Hydra. So, let's get this straight, started Dugan, slowly wanting to know if he's hearing it right. We barely got out of there alive, and you want us to go back? Asked Gabe in bewilderment. Pretty much, answered Izuku. He didn't want to put these people in danger after everything that's happened to them. But these soldiers are the first ones who didn't saw him as a kid, or as an experiment, or as an actor, or as celebrity. They sees him as a soldier. They're only ones he can completely trust. In addition, Shoto said him that they are too stupid to agree with this idea. Sounds rather fun, actually, commented Fallsworth excitedly. I'm in, answered Morita while blinching. We're in, said Gabe and Dernier while laughing at French joke. Hell, I'll always fight, agreed Dugan excitedly, knowing that he will have a chance to give a payback to Nazis. However, there is 2 important things that must do before the fight. But you gotta do 2 things for me. What's that? Asked Izuku in confusion. Well, if we going back to this hell, then we would need a brave leader who will guide us to it, he said with smirk while looking at Midoriya. Everyone understood which leader he meant. Understood what I mean? I think yes, he answered, knowing the hidden question. But will you let a kid to guide all of you to Hellgate? You save all our lives back there, explained Dum Dum. We don't know any more brave and strong as you. We will go after you even in the real hell. Thank you. I agree I will become your leader, said Midoriya with new confidence. But what the second thing? Open a tab, answered Dugan, wanting another drink. I don't think they would sell me, began Midoriya, as he knows that he is still adolescent and they wouldn't sell him anything. However, he forgot that he now looks like 18 years old. The looks the table gives him makes him remember about his looks. Oh, yeah, still can't get used to it. Well, that was easy, commented Gabe, seeing that Izuku without a question goes to the bar counter. Another round for this table, ordered Izuku. Where are they putting all this stuff? Asked Poorkeeper in shock. These people almost drunk an entire barrel. and they want more. It looks like it will be a long night. Seeing that his best friend's negotiation is over, and that he won it, Shoto joins Izuku at the bar counter. Meanwhile, in the background, everyone's singing "There's a Tavern in Town." See? I told you. They're all idiots, jokes Shoto sitting near him. How about you? You ready to follow Captain America into the jaws of death? Asked Izuku curiously. In these missions, he would need Todoroki's moral support. You don't think that he can do it without him. Hell, no. Answer soto soking Izuku. It looks like he will fight without his best friend. Seeing a frown at Midoriya's face, Todoroki smirks and continues. That little guy from Brooklyn who was too dumb not to run away from a fight. I'm following him. But you're keeping the outfit, right? You know what? Asked Izuku himself while looking at poster of one of his shows, which is canceled for obvious reasons. At first, he thought that his costume is hideous and mockery to Army. But now he kind of felt attached to it after all his achievements. However, the suit needs a slightly changes, and he has some new ideas for it. It's kind of growing on me. For Izuku, it is one of the best days in his life. People finally recognized him as a soldier. They give him a serious mission, which will decide the outcome of the war. Soldiers agreed to fight with him on that task. They even made him a leader. Everything is finally becoming better for him. There's nothing that could made this day better. Fortunately, it could be. Suddenly, singing in the bar stops as someone enters it. It's someone as Peggy, but there is something different about her. She is not wearing her usual uniform. She wears a tight-fitting purple dress, which suits her perfectly. All soldiers are staring at her with wide eyes. However, that didn't faze her at all. She used to it. She had a task to do. She then walks to the Izuku and Shoto. Captain, she greets Izuku shyly. Agent Shield, he greeted her back while stammering. He's surprised by her dress like all people in the bar. It makes her beautiful. He don't want to even break eye contact with her. Fortunately for him, she doesn't want it either. Ma'am, greeted Shoto while curious about this girl, and what her relationship with Izuku. It would be interesting. Mitsuki has some equipment for you to try, she said. Tomorrow morning? Sounds good, he answered. He was waiting for a long time to meet Mitsuki. It will be a good moment to tell her about his ideas about his uniform. I see you top squad is prepping for duty, Peggy says, looking at how Izuku's team is partying. You don't like music? Asked Shoto. I do, actually, she shot back, not even breaking eye contact with Midoriya. I might even, when this is all over, go dancing. Then what are we waiting for? Asked Shoto in honestly confusion. The right partner, she answered seriously, still looking at Izuku's eyes. Her answer shocked both men. But the most one is Izuku, because that was the same words he told her in cab on that day. He just becomes speechless. 8 o'clock, Captain. With these words, she left both boys standing there with gapping jaws. Shoto is the first one who comes to his senses and wakes his best friend by giving him a slightly push. Yes, Mom, I'll be there, Izuku said to her, almost stuttering from shock. Something like this he couldn't imagine in years. Now, these is happening. Beautiful woman in the dress talks to him and is not disturbing by his stammering. Maybe there is a chance for him. I'm invisible. I'm turning into you. It's like some horrible dream, joked Shoto, making Izuku to look at him. At this rate, Natsuo will need us to meet some girls. Yeah, you are right. Don't take it so hard. Maybe she's got a friend, reassured Izuku jokingly. Why do you think she's got a friend? Asked Shoto in confusion. Didn't both of them? It's obvious, Izuku answered with a smile. She hadn't noticed you when she came here. And between you and me, you have an exotic look. If she is not so interesting in you, then it means that she got a friend. Well, whoever this guy is, he is a very lucky one. Shoto could only stand still and look at Izuku like he had just grown 2 more heads. He couldn't believe that his best friend didn't even notice that Peggy is very interested in him. However, it should be expecting. Izuku never had any positive contact with opposite gender. Now, finally one woman noticed him. Of course, he wouldn't even noticed it. It looks like serum can't cure denseness, he thought, deadpanning. Well, he wouldn't be Izuku if he did stop being dense. Hope he will understand it soon. Serum didn't cure your denseness, he said it loud, making Izuku confused. What is Shoto thinking? However, it didn't change the fact that the next day will be special. Chapter 17, Heartbreaks and Shields. Allied HQ. The next day, Mitsuki tries to examine Hydra cartridge, which Izuku brings with him. She still couldn't believe that this glowing thing is actually a huge power source for their weapons. It sounds too big to be true. However, that didn't stop her curiosity to study it. But she examines it using a machine inside the glass chamber. She is not insane enough to study it without precautions. Emission signature is unusual. Alpha and beta ray neutral. Though I doubt Midoriya picked up on that. Seems harmless enough. Hard to see what all the fuss is about, explained Mitsuki to others in the room. You think Izuku overrating much? Asked Masaru in confusion. I mean, he had such levels of stress in the last days. Maybe he just imagines them to be so scary and powerful. I hope so. Or else we in grave danger, she answered it loud. However, I couldn't help but to agree with him that this blue glow is terrifying. Masaru could only nod in agreement. He agrees that the glowing is spooks even him. Mitsuki then removes a glowing pellet. Then unexpected happened. The big explosion suddenly appeared and sends engineers flying across the room. Fortunately, Masaru covers Mitsuki, saving both of them from harm. Mitsuki, are you okay? Asked Masaru in worry. Yeah, I am. But my head, she answers with biggest headache in her life. Realizing her position with Masaru, she blushes and clears her throat. Well, first of all, can you get up? Yeah, I think I can, he answers with embarrassment while getting up. Second of all, you write that down. Mitsuki orders one of the engineers. And what time is it? Almost 8 o'clock, said engineer. Masaru, can you guide Izuku here? She asked him, remembering their scheduled meeting. Or else he would get lost. He is not little. He would find the way himself, said Masaru. Masaru, just find him, she ordered. With these words, Masaru left the room. Both of them didn't know the problems which Izuku will have. Somewhere else in the building. Meanwhile, Izuku walks around the building trying to find a lab. However, the structures of the entire building have the same rooms. It's easy to get lost. Searching for the help, he finds a young woman with average height, blonde hair, and slightly older than him. Her name is Private Lorraine. She is also Colonel Chester's secretary. Excuse me, I'm looking for Ms. Bakugo, asked Izuku politely. Normally, he would be nervous wreck around women. However, with experience of Peggy, he can now talk with them without problems. If they don't try to flirt with him. He's in with Colonel Phillips. She answers rudely, not even looking at him, reading a newspaper. Hearing the answer, Izuku perches on the edge of a desk to wait for Mitsuki. However, when Private looks up and sees that the man is Captain America, her demeanor is completely changes. The chance to become the woman of the hero of the America is not so often. She will use it. She then shows him the newspaper, showing his rescue mission. Of course, you're welcome to wait. I read about what you did. Oh, yeah. Well, that's just doing what needed to be done, he said while stammering in nervous fright. He maybe learns how to talk with girls. However, he didn't learn how to act when woman flirts with him. Sounded like more than that. She continues to flirt with him, making Izuku uncomfortable. You saved nearly 400 men. Really? It's not a big deal, he said, trying to sound casual, and failing at it. Tell that to their wives, she counters while walking up to him, making Izuku more nervous. I don't think they were all married, he said with red blush covering his entire face. She's too close to him. You're a hero, she said with smirk. It looks like she's getting on him. Well, that depends on the definition of it, really, he answers while trying to walk away. Unfortunately, he didn't go so far as she grabs hold of his tie. The women of America, they owe you their thanks, she continues while dragging him to the corner of the office. And, seeing as they're not here, drags him to the corner of the office and kisses him. Lorraine then does something unexpected that surprises even him. She kisses him on the lips. Izuku couldn't believe what's happening to him. One minute he was searching for Mitsuki, The next minute, he is kissing by a pretty woman. However, it's not like he imagined his first kiss. It's supposed to happen with a woman who he will love. And he doesn't even know this woman. He only hopes that nobody would see them. Unfortunately, someone did. "Captain," called the familiar British voice. Turning around, the duo sees their interrupter and separates from each other's. It's Peggy, and she's not looking happy. It looks like she's ready to beat both of them. "We're ready for you, if you're not otherwise occupied," she said, the last part annoyed, even with hint of hurt and disappoint. "Agent Shield, wait," he calls back, running after her to explain himself. "Looks like finding a partner wasn't that hard after all," she said, the last part in disgust. She doesn't want to hear anything he says. It's already explained. He is just like others. "Peggy, that's not what you thought it was," he pleaded to her. "It's her who kissed me. It caught me out guard." "I don't think anything, Captain," she answered with disdain. She is too angry and hurt to listen to him. "Not one thing. You always wanted to be soldier, and now you are. Just like all the rest. I even don't care about you anymore." Hearing her words put Izuku in anger. It looks like their moments for her was nothing. It looks like she is already having a friend, if everything were for here nothing. He is not going to let her go away with words. "Well, what about you and your partner? How do I know you two haven't been fonduing?" he asked in anger. Instead of answering, Peggy comes to him and slaps him in the face, leaving a print of her hand on his cheek. She then screamed, "You still don't know a bloody thing about women." With these words, she left Izuku alone, thinking about the last moments of his life while nursing his cheek. He can't explain how all of this madness happened in the first place. Fortunately, he have one who could help. "Hello, Izuku," called Masaru, who just enters the room. However, his face shows that he heard talk of Peggy and Izuku. "Hello, Masaru. How much did you heard?" Midoriya asked his friend. "Everything," he answers in solemn tone. "I don't understand women." Izuku sighed in disappointment. "I don't think there's someone who can," Masaru commented in humor. "Well, Mitsuki waits for you. When we walk, I think we could discuss some things. It could help in your problems." Seeing nothing bad, Izuku nods and goes with Masaru. In Bakugo's lab. "Fondue is just cheese and bread, my friend," said Masaru while entering the lab with Izuku. "Really?" asked Izuku in surprise. Eating the fondue is food. He never ate even a candy. "It's too expensive. I feel myself like an idiot. I just didn't think." "Nor should you, pal," answered Masaru, trying to reassure him. "The moment you think you know what's going on in a woman's head, it's the moment your goose is well and truly cooked. Or the minute you think that woman likes you, she then screams at you for nothing. Or maybe that's just me. To not think about it, I try concentrate on work, which at the moment is about making sure you and your men do not get killed," said Mitsuki, greeting them. By her smirk, nobody could understand if she heard their talk or not. She then points them at the table with a piece of cloth and Izuku's old shield, carbon polymer. "Should withstand your average German bayonet. Although Hydra is not going to attack you with a pocket knife. I hear you're, kind of attached." "It's handier than you might think," commented Midoriya in defense. "It's true that at first glance it's just piece of junk, but it helped him to infiltrate the base." Izuku even thought that shield is better than sword. Sword is symbol of attack, and shield is symbol of defense. That's what he's fighting for. To protect innocent. "I took the liberty of coming up with some options," Mitsuki said, showing him a few shields. "This one's fun. She's been fitted with electrical relays. It'll allow you to—" "What about this one?" Izuku interrupts her. All of his focus was on the simple round silver-looking shield. No, that's just a prototype," she answered in panic. "It's too early to use that shield. It wasn't tested yet. The results could be unpredictable." "What's it made of?" he asked in eager curiosity. "Vibranium," Mitsuki simply answered with sigh, while Izuku is testing a shield. "It's stronger than steel and a third of the weight. It's completely vibration absorbent." After hearing Mitsuki's description of the weapon, Izuku couldn't believe his ears. With material like this, you could go to the front with no fear. But it made him curious. If this material is so useful, why is the only one? "How come it's not a standard issue?" he asked in confusion. That's the rarest metal on Earth. We're holding there. That's all we've got, she answered in tired sigh. You can't imagine how difficult it was for me to take this little piece from that African secret village. Before Izuku could ask her about African village more, Peggy enters the lab, still looking annoyed and disappointed from their last talk and comments while looking at Midoriya. You quite finished, Ms. Bakugo? I'm sure the captain has some unfinished business. If Izuku is hurt by her words, he didn't show it. He don't need it. When he learns from Masaru that Peggy didn't have a partner, it makes him happy to know that he maybe does have a chance with her. What do you think? He asked her while holding the shield in honest interest. Her opinion is very important for him. However, Peggy understood it differently. She thought that he just mocks her, just like others. She then picks a nearby gun and shoots at Izuku. Luckily, he used his shield to defend himself from bullets. The results surprised the lab. Both Izuku and shield is okay and unscratched. However, he is in shock after shooting. Yes, I think it works, she comments like nothing happened. She then puts the gun down and walks out of the lab, leaving stunned Izuku and Masaru and very angry Mitsuki. Midoriya then remembers why he wanted to talk with Mitsuki in the first place and shows her his notebook with designs and ideas for uniform. I had some ideas about the uniform. He gives her his notebook. Whatever you want, pal, she said while taking the notes, still angry at Peggy and her stunt. Now excuse me. I need to chase Peggy to talk with her about safety repercussions. With these words, she left the boys alone. Both of them are slightly afraid for Peggy's safety. When Peggy exited the lab, she was still feeling angry about Izuku's betrayal. Even shooting him didn't help her. She still feels pain and disappointment. What she did expect? He was weak before and nobody didn't even notice him, and now he is big, strong, popular, and famous. Now he has attention and uses it for his own desires. However, before she could walk away further, she was startled by the sudden shout. Peggy, stop your freaking legs and get your stupid butt back here. Turning around, Peggy sees very angry Mitsuki Bakugo, who slowly comes to her. Ms. Bakugo, can we talk later? Shield asked with tired voice. I'm already too tired for anything. Stop calling me Ms. Bakugo. Mitsuki bellowed so loud that Peggy's ears starts to hurt. I'm not so old to call myself like that. I feel like I am some kind of old hag. And do you even know what you just did in my lab? Why are you worrying so much? She asked in annoyance. You told yourself that the shield is bulletproof. Even if it wasn't, I don't think that Izuku will be so much hurt. Little bullets are nothing for him. Are you stupid, Peggy? She continued in disbelief. If you missed, you could blown us up to Dr. Erskine. And I want to have life after the war if we win or survive it. Wait, what do you mean by blown us up? Peggy asked in fear. Peggy, I'm working with weapons, vehicles, and explosions, she explains with sigh. In the lab, there's so many explosives, reactive and radioactive, that you could blow up an entire city. That made Peggy gasp in horror. Because of her emotions, she could kill all of them. And because of what? Because she have jealousy issues. She feels herself so stupid right now. I am sorry, Mitsuki, she apologized. It's just something bad happened to me, and I couldn't think straight. I am sorry. It's about Midoriya, isn't it? Mitsuki commented, already knowing the answer. And don't try to deny it. I know what's happening, but I can't help you if you don't tell me everything. Well, today I was searching for Izuku and find him kissing Private Lorraine, she explained in sadness. Can you believe it? She didn't even notice him before, and now, when he changed and became famous, he is suddenly women magnet. She just wanted to be woman of American hero, not to be with Izuku, Midoriya, and he is no better than her. He told me about his plans to find himself right partner. He don't need it anymore. When I thought that I finally find a man who understands me and wants to be with true me, and now it means that all his kind words are lies. All these words put Mitsuki in worry, sadness, and sympathy. She could understand the problems Peggy have right now. She knows that it's difficult to find her a man if all of them looking at you like a piece of meat. And when you find him and he becomes your friend, it's become too hard to start a relationship with a risk to ruin your friendship or with risk to get the wrong choice. She knows this problems because she having them too. However, between her and Peggy have a big difference. You know what, Peggy? She suddenly asked. There is no one who understands you better than me. I know what it's like to find yourself a man when for all of them you are just pretty face with money. However, there is one thing that you forgot. Do you remember who he was before Serum? He never could even stay still in the presence of woman. I don't think that his changes made him confident in that department. In addition, you told yourself that Lorraine pretty much was kissing him because she wants to have attention. You are right. She doesn't cares about him. She only wants him for his glory. I don't think that he is interested in her. He just didn't know how to ditch her without making her sad. Plus, I saw how he looks at you. He looks at you in admiration. I think he really cares about you and wants to be with you. Peggy was standing still with surprise. She didn't thought about her problem at that perspective. It opens her eyes that she just overreacted and screamed at Izuku for almost stupid reasons. Maybe she should give him a chance? Should I give him a chance and apology? She said her thoughts aloud. I don't know, she answered with a shrug. I have the same problems, and I don't know how to deal with them. But don't talk to him for some days. He has some serious missions tomorrow. He doesn't need some distractions right now. Peggy couldn't argue with her logic. She knows that Mitsuki is right. Izuku have missions, and he doesn't need to distract himself with her problems. Thanks, Mitsuki. I really need that talk, she said gratefully. You also should give Masaru a chance. I don't know what you were talking about. Bakugo bluffed with red, blushing cheeks. With these words, Mitsuki went back to her lab to prepare for tomorrow. Tomorrow will change the war.